Alright, Michael? Are you ready for your big Horusy debut?
It's actually Mitch, sir. Mitchell Scanlon.
Don't contradict me, Mick.
Yes, sir. And yes, I'm actually really excited for my assignment. This will be my first time writing Astartes.
Indeed. Now, I know writing for Big Papa Workshop can be intimidating, but there's no need to worry. Everyone has to start somewhere. I'm sure you'll do just fine.
I've actually worked for you before, sir.
What?
Yeah, I got started in Warhammer Monthly with a fantasy comic about Inquisitor Grimm way back in 2002.
You're making this up.
No, really. Then I wrote the 40K Imperial Guard novel a couple years ago, and then there were a few short stories about guardsmen too.
Are you sure? I think I would have remembered if one of my writers' names was Dick.
Mitch.
What did I say about contradicting me?
Right, sorry.
You're off to a rough start, Dick. Now, give me the pitch.
Well, you said you were looking for a one-off.
Filler! Yes! Filler like those girly Japanese animes do. Just, without girls.
No girls?
No. Graham's last book made me think too much about girls. The series needs a break.
I mean, can I have some girls?
I guess you can have one.
Thank you, sir.
But she has to explode.
Sir?
I said what I said. Now, continue the pitch, Brick.
Right. So I was thinking we can do an origin story for a Primarch we haven't seen in the series yet. That way I'm not interfering with Dan and Graham's story while still providing important context and characterization for the novels to come.
Oh yeah? Which one do you want?
The Lion. We know he and Luther have their own civil war, so I thought it'd be cool to introduce the origins of their struggle as this next step of the heresy.
Yes, that could work. You can show us how twisted and bitter Luther is compared to the noble perfection of the Lion.
Well, kind of. I actually wanted to make Luther at least somewhat sympathetic. I also had this idea to parallel the struggle between Luther and the Lion with an intense rivalry between two cousins in their knightly order, who go on to become part of the first generations of Calvinite Astartes.
That's actually an interesting narrative choice. So, the one who ends up on Luther's side will be a jealous little shit too?
I was planning on something with a touch more nuance. I want each pair to be very close until we're near the end, when the pressure and lack of respect finally gets to Luther and he almost betrays the Lion. That way, he raises enough suspicion to be sent home without failing so horribly that he should just be executed. I think the fissures between them should form gradually, over the course of years.
Years? How much of this thing is actually taking place on Caliban?
At least half the novel, sir. Maybe more. I was thinking I could have a few noble knightly quests, transition to a messy siege displaying the horrors of war, then we can have the Imperium arrive with all of its innovations and technology, but also its destructive colonial greed.
Wait. War is awesome, and colonial empires are the bee's knees.
Well, wars are sometimes necessary, and colonization is praised by some, but war is also terrifying and cruel, and colonization, I mean, it's pretty barbaric when you really think about it.
This is more of that nuance thing you were talking about, isn't it?
Exactly. Then there's an attempt on the Emperor's life. The boys become Astartes, and we end up on a non-compliant human world where everyone wears a mask except the ruler.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel us, you know?
At the very end, there's a big final battle with a many-eyed tentacly booger monster floating above a pit stuffed with 70 million rotting corpses.
Oh, now that sounds like us.
So can I do it?
Well, Clint, I think it's worth a shot. But I warn you, our fans are probably going to hate it.
You think?
Well, we're completely ignoring the first 5 books in the series, and I don't think you mentioned the heresy even once in your pitch.
Yeah, we don't actually even get to the heresy in this one.
Wow! They will hate this! Oh well, all that matters is that they buy it.
But if they hate the book, they'll hate me. Without committed fans, I'll be like Matt Ward. I may not even get another chance to write a Horus Heresy novel. I'll be one of the lost.
Yes, and the damned. Welcome, everyone, listeners, new and old, to episode 6 of the Lost and the Damned podcast. I am Uncle. I am the Damned. And here with me today for Book 6, Descent of Angels by Michael Scanlon, is...
Faden Cross, hello, I'm the lost.
And we're so glad you're here. We're having so much fun with this series, and I gotta say... Yet again, perhaps fifth book in a row, I like this book better than the last one. How about you?
I would say that, but I don't like False Gods better than Horus Rising. So I guess
that's fair.
Starting with
those...
Galaxy in the Flames, Galaxy in Flames, I would say that. Yeah.
You know what? I think we're on the same page there. I think False Gods and Horus Rising are equally bland to me and have their own problems. I really couldn't say I like one over the other. But every book since then's just gotten better than the last. Very different book. Each book has been very different than the last.
I guess Galaxy in Flames and Horus. I mean, like the first three are pretty similar in a lot of ways.
Sure. I think it was just that the first two had like these grand narrative strokes, huge narrative skips, you could say, taking leaps and bounds where they should have taken smaller steps. And then book 3 was just an action thriller, but in the same vein with mostly the same characters, covering, as a consistent. It was definitely book 3, each
That's
book
true. That's true.
Followed the next pretty well. And then Flight of the Eisenstein did I think a bit more time skipping here and there, backwards and forwards, than the first 3 books, and stuck mostly to just one legion, the Death Guard. And then book 5 did a lot more time jumping. I think I incorrectly said it's like more of a one-off, but I think it's still definitely a sequel to the other books. It's still moving the plot forward for sure, but it does a lot more. It goes a lot further backwards into the Great Crusade. And then we get this book, Descent of Angels, which is absolutely a one-off. There is no continuation from the first 5 books. None of the same characters, really, at all. And we don't even get to the Horus Heresy in this book. This is just Great Crusade. It's just Great Crusade. And I think all of that is good. I think this largely self-contained adventure is fun. It's tight. It's way more interesting in terms of in my opinion, the depth we see in the characters
although apparently that is not the opinion of the masses. Most people hate this book.
Well, those people are just kind of wrong, I would think. Because here's my thing. Ignoring the people being wrong, I would like to say I think Zahariel is probably one of the more in-depth characters we've ever had in the Horus Heresy so far.
For sure. I think we see some depth in Saul Tarvitz, some depth in Nathaniel Garrow, and in Mr. Luna Wolf, good boy.
Loken.
Loken, thank you.
I can't believe you forgot about my gay son, Loken.
Yeah, he's just so bland compared to Zahariel, who has, first of all, a much better name. I love the angel names. Zahariel, Nemiel, Remiel, all good names.
Lion L. Johnson.
Yeah, that's just genius. The poetry. Yeah, what's funny about this is in the past books you've noticed how many characters are given manes, great manes of hair, and this guy's literally the lion, and I don't think he's described as having a mane of hair even once.
Nope, not at all.
And that's good writing, folks.
I assumed he looked like a Dragon's Dogma lion guy in my entire brain this time. I know that's not true. I know he's not furry and has a lion mane, but I did just imagine that the entire time he spoke.
He's canonically tall, handsome, sharp features, long blonde hair, and often a blonde beard.
Okay. That sounds like a Lionel Johnson.
Sure. Sounds like a Lionel. But
That's true.
This book really is. I think of this book as like a proto Primarch book. So the Primarch books are a separate series that is largely contained within the Horus Heresy, but most of those stories will dip in and out of the Great Crusade, sometimes parts of the Heresy, and then often post-Heresy events. And they're just books that are solely about the Primarch, usually offering an in-depth cut of some famous scene from ancient lore, pre-Horus Heresy novels. But each Primarch has their own Primarch book, and this feels like a prototype for that. Fulgrim was kind of like that too. It is a book named Fulgrim. But we kind of get backgrounds for the characters to some degree, but this one is very fully fleshed out. Like, this is the lion's origin, and we
unlike
get to see
Fulgrim, where Fulgrim really doesn't explain much pre-Imperium, we get a look at pre-Imperium life for this planet.
Yeah, this is the first real glimpse we get of a culture that has not been dominated by colonialism yet. And it's quite interesting. And we actually get two glimpses of cultures that have not been fully dominated by by colonialism yet. One at the beginning and one at the end. But yeah, Caliban is, it's a single planet. It's a big, vast forest planet where this story takes place. But it's a pretty tight story. It's really a story about two characters. One of them we spend far more time with, and how their journey parallels the journey of their leaders, Luther and the Lion. Lots of knightly quests.
I would
and then eventually
argue
some
that,
wars.
Yeah, I would argue this book isn't really about two characters. It's really about one.
Well, I think it's the story of these cousins as told through Zahariel's perspective.
Maybe. Should I get into the summary and then we can kind of
let's get into
it?
the summary. I'll tell you, I'm probably thinking too far ahead into the series as a whole. I'll say that, maybe.
You know what? Didn't think about that.
Yeah. All right, give us the summary. Let's hear what this book is about, really.
All right. I got a one-sentence summary of Descent of Angels, Loyalty, and Honor. Zahariel lives through interesting times as his planet Caliban is colonized by the Imperium. There's our one sentence overall. This is kind of what this book is about.
Yeah, in general, absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting times. Good choice of phrase.
Book 1, Caliban. Zahariel is a 9-year-old boy who is inducted into the Order, a group of knights on the forest planet Caliban. Knights on Caliban fight the beasts that roam the woods and terrorize people. The leader of the Order, the Primarch Lion L. Johnson, aka the Lion, leads a 10-year-long campaign to kill all beasts in the world. During a training mission, Zahariel and his party are ambushed by a beast. Zahariel slays the beast, gaining renown amongst the Order. And that's book 1.
That's a neat summary. I do like how this book is portioned out. The books feel very self-contained. They feel more haphazard in the previous books, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
The parts didn't seem like their own distinct thing. They just stopped. And it is interesting. This is the first time they're using the word book to designate these parts. Makes it kind of more fantasy feeling.
Definitely. And I think the general the language of this book is far more fantasy. But that's this planet. That's Caliban. It's a knightly world full of knightly orders and terrible beasts for them to quest and kill. I think an important detail to add about the beasts themselves is that this isn't just a planet of beasts. You know, there's packs of wolves and bears and monsters. Like, beasts are a very singular thing for this planet. Like, literally, every beast on Caliban is a singular entity of which there is no other. Some kind of horribly mutated, twisted creature. There's only one exception to that, and that's the Calibanite lion, which the lion is famous for killing. And then Zahariel later kills his own. Rather miraculously, too. But beyond that, beyond this lion that there is apparently 2 of, all other beasts are singular entities. They're totally unique, and they are all subtly wrong. They're rarely described as anything other than being wrong.
And vindictive as hell. They seem actually like they're mean.
Yeah, and that's part of their wrongness. They don't just hunt for food. Every beast has the characteristic that they kill for killing's sake, far beyond what they could ever possibly consume. And in the scenes we get with beasts, they all seem to have a near sentient intelligence. They seem to enjoy the suffering of their victims, and they have a keen intelligence in their eyes. So it's really, the beasts are chaos beasts. These are creatures that have been mutated by the forces of chaos. Caliban, as we learn later in the text, is a planet that has these pockets of warping stuff where the warp is leaking through into reality, and it has apparently poisoned a number of the creatures on this planet and turned them into pseudo-demonic monsters, which has totally shut down society. There are walled cities on this planet, and everything else, for the most part, is forest and mountain. And the forests and mountains are deadly as hell. Like, everything, even beyond the beasts, everything will kill. The plants will all kill you. The regular animals are super dangerous. There's raptors. There's bears. There are like all kinds of real animals that are really dangerous. There's carnivorous plants, deadly toxins natural to the environment. And it's mostly just forest everywhere. Sorry.
Yeah. I like the beginning where we kind of get Zahariel and his cousin Nemiel.
Yes. Their pledge induction.
Yeah, they have to be indicted into the order. This is when they're what, 5, 6?
I think they're 9 when they get started, right?
They're younger when they do this part.
They are very small for sure. Little kids. They're forced to do this like classic fraternity ritual of wait outside the door for some extended period of time in the weather, no matter what. And we'll come outside and we'll tell you you're not worthy and we don't want you, but we're just kidding. We just want you to try and give up so that the few who remain feel extra special when they get in.
And some other kids would be lured by, we got warm food here.
Yeah.
Don't you just want to give up?
Yeah, they would literally trick some of the kids. They'd be like, all right, come on in, before the time was up. And then they just get them. Or sit down and we got you. You guys are good to go. Classic fraternity shit. And then when they are inducted, there's another just classic fraternity ritual. Where they're forced into this interrogation about what their special knowledge of the order, and a bunch of random things they're supposed to memorize. Very fraternal. From a text literally called The Verbatim. I love that.
Yep.
Their war manual. And they're questioned by this trio of elders, one of which is deviling them the entire time, constantly saying he's not worthy, he's not good enough, throwing really personal insults at a child.
At this 9-year-old boy.
Yeah, just trying to unnerve this 9-year-old boy, until eventually he passes, and then, good job, you did it, kid. You're tough enough. We'll let you in. You memorized enough ancient text.
But also, you got enough common sense in you to know some things here and there.
Yeah, and he does have quick responses, and being quick-witted is important to this knightly order. This is, besides perhaps the Knights of Lupus, who we meet later, this seems to be like a really intellectual group. The Order is what these guys in particular are called. The Lion's Order is called the Order.
Right.
And there are many knightly orders on this planet, it turns out. They each have their own little territory. Sometimes they go to war, but mostly they stick to fighting the beasts. But the Lion's different, and the Order is different because they don't exclusively recruit from noble families. This is a largely medieval feudal society, with some future tech, but it's very
with power
medieval.
Armor, chainsaws, bolter, pistols.
Low tech power armor, low tech chain swords, low tech explosive pistols, and some artillery, but that's basically all of the high tech stuff they have. They don't even have electricity. They just, for some reason, have all of this other stuff.
For some reason, it's sure.
Yeah, it
but
feels
whatever.
like it feels like steampunk tech, really, which is cool. It's fun. I like it. The stakes are higher than any Astartes story because these are actually mortal people who have physical limitations that are normal. And for most of the story, we're following the lives of children or young adults, and so the peril feels extra heightened. But the order is different from all these other orders because they recruit from all populations, commoners included. They have the greatest hero of the age, Luther, a man who stands, leaps and bounds above all other men in terms of his abilities, his feats, and his accomplishments. And he also found the Lion, who is literally superhuman and is actually better than everyone else and is literally head and shoulders above everyone else. And we get this subtly in the background brewing tension. It's not even tension in the first part of the book. It's just poor old Luther. Rivalry, but even then it's just Zahariel occasionally thinks like, dang, it must suck to be Luther, being so amazing in every way, but not as amazing as somebody that no one else could ever even hope to reach the level of.
In every other age, he would be the hero of the age, but he is not because he happened to find this fucking big boy.
Yep. And which is in and of itself a great accomplishment. It turns out, as we find out, the Lion, unique among all people in this society, being a Primarch, crash landed here in the middle of the wilderness at some point as a child, and he just grew up and survived for years and years and years alone in the woods without any other people. And again, this is a planet full of horrible monsters and animals that'll kill you, and terrible beasts that only power armored, chainsword wielding, explosive pistol toting, rootin' tootin' knights can possibly take on. And even then, a lot of them usually die. And this guy was just alone in the woods by himself, doing it barehanded for years. If we look at the grand scale of the timeline of Warhammer, he might have been in the woods for decades, alone, totally isolated, just fighting monsters. So
fisticuffing monsters as he goes.
Yeah, just punching their faces off, or something. Who knows? Primarchs can do all kinds of crazy shit, and Yeah, it's I really like I really do like this first book though. I think this book 1 is my favorite part of the book. Although
Yeah.
I like book 2 as well. I just I don't know. Maybe it's just the the child in me who loves all those young adult books that I read as a kid, all the adventure novels of children in various fantasy settings. It
You
awakens
get
some
this.
of that in me.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of scenes of the boys hanging out and just trying to be knights and make sense of the world, and even having these little debates amongst each other
Yeah.
of like Zahariel and Nemiel constantly.
Zahariel's classic idealist versus pragmatist. Nemiel's very grounded, down to earth, pessimistic most often,
Yep.
and Zahariel is an idealist. And I like that his idealism is more or less ascribed to the fact that he's kind of naturally good at things. He is just always successful. He usually just barely edges out Nemiel in terms of all of their competitions. And he seems to do it out of sheer luck. Things just work out for him. And so, yeah, of course this kid is an idealist, And Nemiel, who has to work really, really hard to get what he has. I think it said early on he's from a lieutenant branch of the noble family they both come from, and so he's always had to push himself really hard. He's a pragmatist. He's practical. He's down to earth and pessimistic. I don't know. These seem like human beings, and Astartes are very clearly not human beings.
Well, and also they're not 9-year-olds too at the same time in very funny ways.
The conversations they have are pretty academic a lot of the time. Yeah. At some point, they have a conversation about history being written by the victors.
Yeah. Or about the like life and struggle, and maybe struggle is the reason why
Yes.
Maybe things were different on Terra, suggested Nemiel. Maybe, but maybe it's because we take it for granted that our lives on Caliban are always about struggle. In comparison, Terra must be like a paradise.
Yeah, this mythical planet that there is zero space travel going on in this society. So nobody for 5,000 years has heard from any other planet, and so whether or not there even are any other planets is pure myth to the people.
And just
of
thinking
Caliban.
about these 9-year-old
and these boys, and that's
having
exactly
these mildly sophisticated debates. Not even like sophisticated, but they're having like dumb college freshman level debates.
Yes. They're very precocious little boys, we could say.
Yeah, and it's not like terrible. I mean, it's fine, but it also does. They do already sound like Astartes in some ways too. And
they do. That's the order, right? That's the strange coincidence of the order is that it's
or Astartes just sound like boys.
Ooh, no, I like that better.
Because we have kind of constantly established they are children and childlike.
Yeah.
They just speak like adults.
Maybe, and you know what? Maybe that's why this is so much easier to buy. Why these characters are so much easier to buy, because they actually are children instead of hundreds of years old and having visited hundreds of cultures and lived many lifetimes.
And it's not even like things. A thing about believability for me. It's more of a thing of, I think this book is specifically drawing the comparison that these Astartes are essentially just these boys, but big. And they even make these boys into big boys, and they're still the same.
I feel like I'm more pessimistic about how intentional that is, but I think you're right that the book does that regardless of intention.
Right.
It definitely
really
sets
draws
up
a comparison.
Yeah.
And that's why it's also like this feels fine to go into for a Horus Heresy book, for a Warhammer book. It's on the page. They're just doing the same thing, but now they're like kind of weird fantasy knights.
Right.
Who ride big horses on with their big power armor.
Big horses, yeah, real big horses, and they're all black.
Mean as hell.
No, but I think that beyond just I think I've mostly been gushing about how much I like the story and how fun of a read it is. But I think that is one of the things I most appreciate about this book, though, is how well it like how well it establishes what's problematic about the Imperium, about colonialism in general, but also specifically about the Astartes, like about this entire separate society of warriors who are kept separate from civilians. For one, like that's a parallel we see between the knightly orders and the Astartes. But also how like just an entire life of war and living for war often leads us to just see war in everything, or even create the conditions that allow for perpetual war. We see some hints of that when we get to the Knights of Lupus, but that's the next book.
Well, and also another I think the comparison is being drawn specifically. Zahariel has this thought at one point: to know fear, real fear, and to gain a great victory in spite of it seemed a more noble achievement than any triumph where fear was absent. And that's just a refutation on Astartes as heroic
they know no
figures.
Fear.
They know no fear.
And the line that they know no fear. You're absolutely right. The boys, and their story is good because they know fear, right? It's better than the Astartes stories because they know no fear.
Yep, and that's why this book is a more enjoyable read, is because that fear is there and it actually feels important.
Yes. And the book really does dwell on that mortal terror, especially in this early section. Both of the beast hunts that we see in book 1 are, I mean, they might be, I don't know if, is the lion fight in book 1? I might be.
Nope, it's in book 2.
Yeah, that's in book 2. But
the beast fight where they're doing the training mission and they get ambushed by the crazy winged creature.
It's like a basilisk with wings.
I just imagine it's a pterodactyl.
Yeah, it's like I guess it's like a pterodactyl, but it has teeth. It has lots of sharp teeth. And did it have a beak? I don't know if it had a beak. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a flying beast monster lizard thing. Kind of a dragon?
Kind of a dragon.
Kind of a dragon for these knights to slay. But the tension is brilliant. And then later the fight against the beast he slays individually for his individual knightly oath quest.
That's pretty good.
They're good. The tension there's great. Like I said, the mortal terror that is ever present in these fights, just it adds so much more to the experience of the battle. Knowing that a guy getting his arm chopped off means he's gonna die is nice. Like, with an Astartes, you could do anything to these guys, and if the plot needs them to live, you can easily excuse them living. It's just so much better.
And it's mostly because you also get to see the comparison later on when post Astarteification. Like, Zahariel doesn't have that reaction, even though he's facing much more dangerous things than he ever faced on Caliban. And it's just kind of a nothing thing for him to achieve, really, at the end of the day. It's just nothing.
The stakes are unbelievably high for the very, very last fight we see in this book, and it's easily the flattest combat we see in the whole thing.
Also, it kind of represents how it kind of just, when you're in that world, it just flattens out, as opposed to when you're in this world where you're in the actual world, where you're connected to the place, where it's something you grew up with. You are more connected to it, and it is more vivid.
Absolutely. Yeah, Zahariel has a great deal of awe, respect, and love. It's directly stated how much he loves his planet. He comes to think of this right before he leaves. Again, later. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. But Zahariel he's deeply connected to this place, and I don't know, it's a shame that later on we don't see him thinking as much about other people being connected to where they're from. Not that it really matters all that much, but missed opportunity.
There's a reason why, I think.
We'll get to
Zahariel
that
explains how it happens. Zahariel reasoned that men were intrinsically good, and, granted the opportunity, they would choose the best and brightest paths from amongst the roads on offer. No man would ever willingly perform an evil act unless forced to it by circumstance. And I think that kind of just sums up of, like, how systems, especially the systems in this world, make people do terrible things.
Absolutely. Like, it's everything about the Imperium and how it's structured forces the people in it to be what they are, just like in the real world. We see that even on Caliban. There's
and I think it also illuminates
other option.
It illuminates Zahariel at the end, where he's not having any of these reactions to that stuff. So, we can go get into it. Is there anything about book 1 we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about any of the boys?
So there are 2 other boys that they're not very little is done with them. I think it's good that we have more than
Adius and Eliath.
Yes, Eliath and Adius.
Adius. Attias.
Adius. I don't know. Adius, I think it's Adius.
I think it's Adius too.
Okay. Adius the bookworm and the other one, the strong boy,
Eliath.
I am really struggling with these names for some reason.
Which this is so funny. This is the book where this is reversed, where I'm just nailing these names and you're struggling for once. And
well, these are. Never mind. I don't want to spoil things. There's a reason why I don't know these characters as well. Okay. Honestly, though, I will say Dark Angels is not a faction I've spent a lot of time with personally. So maybe we mentioned before, listeners, that most people who engage with the Horus Heresy kind of just attack the books that appeal to them in terms of the factions that are presented there. Dark Angels has not always been something I'm all that interested in. And I had heard horrible reviews about this book. Most people hate this book who are Warhammer fans. And I know I listened to parts of the audiobook for this, and I remember not loving the voice for that audiobook. And I was reading some reviews online before we started recording, and some people, that's a really common complaint. People don't like the audiobook, and I think most Warhammer readers, scare quotes, just listen to the audiobook, which
makes sense.
It's a kind of reading. But I think the overwhelming majority just listen. And there is a huge difference in experiences between listening and reading with your eyes. It isn't necessarily that one's superior to the other, but
it is different.
It is a very different experience, and things that you feel like the book is dwelling on a lot when you're listening kind of zoom by when you're reading with your eyes, and the same is true vice versa, I think.
I would personally say about this book, I think this is maybe the most easiest one to pick up.
Oh yeah, I think the YA vibes are a part of that. It's also, like I said, completely self-contained. You don't have to know anything about Warhammer to understand this book, at least until you get to the Astartes bits, and then you might be a little lost.
Yeah, but you're less. I'll say you're less lost than how lost I was feeling during Horus Rising.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's the start, which, again, you've brought up before. Everyone who is reading these books knows about the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, but we're technically reading it the wrong way. But yeah.
But as someone who doesn't, I think Descent of Angels is the one that, like, if people who aren't into Warhammer want to just, like, dip a toe in, this is a good one to read.
Yeah, it gives you a nice vertical slice of Warhammer. You get
it gives you the slice, but also I think it effectively illustrates why the Imperium is bad in a way that it's been finally nice to have illustrated.
Yeah, I think that this is it's pretty ambiguous with our first 5 books whether or not the author thinks the Imperium is bad. This book, I don't think equivocates at all. I think this book says, no, the Imperium's a bad thing. Obviously, duh, this is bad. Yeah,
right, and like. Yeah, maybe that's such a thing already established in the point where, of course, people reading the books would already have that opinion. But for me, as someone who's starting to read these out, it's nice to have a book finally say it and kind of put it on the right footing in a right way.
But I mean,
and like say it in
why?
a way where it's like the flaws of the Imperium aren't these weird things like bureaucracy, even though we do get a little bit of that.
Right. And I think that's to the point of like, I think, why did those early authors have to be ambiguous about whether or not this is all going to be bad someday?
Truly don't know.
Again, so like I would push back on the maybe forgiving them for expecting people to know that the Imperium is bad, because I don't think it's not clear. I think they could easily foreshadow clearly that the Imperium will be bad someday, more clearly, if they expected the audience to know that. Like, why rely on them knowing that?
I think
if you're
False
gonna,
Gods
if you're gonna
tries
make so
to
many,
do that, but
Yeah.
it doesn't. It's also the same
With
scene where Horus is getting barked
horror,
at by
yeah.
the wolves.
Yes, it's
So, and Erebus is being such a fucked up bad guy that it really doesn't matter because Erebus is
Right.
being evil as hell, and it's great.
and it also, things get kind of blurred there because yes, we the reader see how horrible everything is, what a horrible dystopian nightmare, but Horus's real issue with that vision is that he's not in it.
Very funny. That part is good.
So yeah.
It is just nice to have a clear illustration, I think. Like, it's fine to have the
Absolutely.
other where it's a little bit more ambiguous, and I know we're going to get more of that, but I was so thirsting at someone to finally, like, paint the picture, actually, as opposed to kind of leave it half unfinished and having you guess to what the finished product is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But this book really just illustrates it by painting the difference between pre-Imperium Caliban and post-Imperium Caliban.
And to give some credit to the other authors before this guy, this book has nothing to say to any of the books we've read so far. So he has not had to juggle any other timelines, any other characters, anything anyone has written yet in this series. Not one bit of it matters anything at all to this book. And so he had a lot more freedom writing this bad boy.
Yeah, and it's just fun. It's just kind of fun.
It is fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I think the action is well paced. Like we get, not in terms of like just combat. I mean, like the more eventful,
story
impactful. Yeah, the story beats are much more rhythmically timed here, I think.
There's less war. There's less war in this Warhammer, which is nice, actually.
It is. It makes the times when there is war stand out much better. And And I can't wait to talk about the actual direct comparison between one-on-one combat and war that comes up in a future section.
Yeah.
Are we ready to move on for book 2 now? Because I
want to shout out some things I really do
Sure.
like about this, which is the just the tradition aspect of this book, about how they literally just lay it out of, sometimes you don't understand tradition, and that's okay. You'll understand later when, you call upon it in times of need. And I like how they have these just strange traditions of circles.
Yeah, circles and spirals on this planet. Yeah.
These people are obsessed with circles and spirals. Their battle tactics are circles.
And that all comes from, this is the knightly Astartes faction, and these books were written in England. So this is the King Arthur chapter, right? These are they have, it's Celtic ritual, and you see those little sprinkling things in there, the Arthurian legends, the round table, and there's the inner circle and the outer circle, and
I like I love they have to trace the path of the spiral perfectly while holding a sword.
Yes, it's part of their technique. The endless inner circling of in a duel. It's why they're the best. It's why the Order's the best, and they always win in all the tourneys because they have the spiral. But the spiral, it's not just combat. It's also life. It is the endless cycle of life and death and blah blah blah. All that high-minded fraternity shit you'll hear.
Right, all the knightly fraternity shit.
Yeah, while pledging. But I do like that though. Like I think
it's good.
I know a lot of people. I've read a bunch of reviews leading up to our recording. A lot of people complain about how heavy-handed the symbolism is. A lot of people say that, and I'm like, I don't think. I think it's just nice motifs. It's
I will
consistent. consistent parallels. It's a little repetitive sometimes.
It's heavy-handed,
but
parentheses, complimentary, as are the rest of these books.
yeah, no, like exactly. Like it's not any worse in that regard than anything else we've read so far. The allusions to real world literature are far less obnoxious in this book. So
I didn't even really notice them, actually. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because they're barely there. Like there's like tiny winks and nods at Arthurian legend, but there's
Right,
no
but
parallels here. There's no mimicking here, and
there's no William Blake.
There's an old ancient tale of Lord Arthurius of Albionia. No nonsense like that. It's just no. This is a planet that naturally developed this culture for believable reasons. And yeah, I don't know. I like it. And also the spiral.
A bunch of English people wrote the book. That's believable to me.
Yeah.
They made fucking Albion, the planet. I think it's so telling too, Caliban being the planet that's about to be colonized, being a Tempest reference, which is a play about colonization. Also Lionel Johnson being
since I've thought about that play. Oh my God, you're right.
Lionel Johnson being a allegory for Prospero is really good.
There's a planet called Prospero, and it's the home planet of a different Primarch.
That's so goofy. I love.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, that's right. That's fucking Mangus, right? Or Magus or
Magnus.
Whatever.
Magnus.
Yeah.
Good
for him.
Yep.
Book 2, Beasts.
Yes, Book 2 Beasts.
A few years later, the lion provokes the leader of the Knights of Lupus into a war. Zahariel's idol, Brother Amadis, is killed after attempting to fight a beast. Zahariel goes on a quest to kill that beast. On his way, he encounters an evil forest being contained by mysterious figures who warn him to turn away. He fights the Calbanite lion, one of the most dangerous beasts on the planet. In a moment of near death, Zahariel activates slow motion and true sight to locate the lion's weak point. After he returns, he becomes a full knight. The lion leads a final assault against the Knights of Lupus, who use the beast to fend off the order. Lord Sartana, the leader of the Knights of Lupus, warns Zahariel of the folly of destroying all beasts in the world and kills himself.
It's great. I think I like book 1 in general more, but I do like this war. I think this is the best war we've gotten yet.
The war itself is fine. I like the siege.
That's what I mean. The siege.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The war's kind of glossed over.
Well, yeah. I meant the siege. I said war. I meant the siege. Yeah. 'Cause the siege is great. Aesthetically, but also thematically. The conversations it generates are pretty wonderful. And the horror is far more present than in any other, significant pitched battle scene we've seen in the other books. It's solid stuff all throughout. I really lost my place. Hang on.
I like the introduction of this where the lion puts up war banners and it's just doing the most annoying shit to get the fucking Lords Sartana to declare war.
So, okay, I think this is what I was going to say. Yes, the lion provokes the war, or he certainly doesn't stop it. I think there are some hints that this is Luther's fault, though. Because the lion, is not a liar, and he says, "I made no such promise to you." When they have the parley with the Knights of Lupus, and the Knights of Lupus say, "You promised us that you would stay away from the North Wilds," and Lion says, "No, I didn't." But I believe there's a section
I read
where
that.
we find out. There's a section where we're told Luther had a meeting with them without the lion.
Yeah,
and so to me, that's a sign that. And I think this is Luther. This is very Luther. Luther, wisely, in my opinion, told the lion, "I'll take care of this. You're too hot-headed. I'll take care of this." And then told the Knights of Lupus, "Yeah, we'll stay out of the North Wilds," fully knowing that they would eventually get there and have to go to war with them, just to placate the Knights of Lupus and the lion. So you don't have to know about this. You don't have to feel bad because we're liars. And we can still successfully take care of this campaign without having to worry about a knightly order trying to stop us the whole time. So I think it's pure Luther's political scheming. And I think it's the right move. I think he did the right thing doing that. But it does lead to this war, ultimately. Because I think why is it a problem? That's probably worth mentioning, because the Knights of Lupus don't want to get rid of the beasts. They want to continue hunting them, but they think actually murdering all beasts on the planet, which is the Lion's campaign, to systematically destroy every horrible beast on the planet. The Knights of Lupus say no, we shouldn't do that, and it makes them low-key pretty sympathetic to anybody.
Yeah, because they're right.
Yeah, I mean. And in many ways, they do turn out to be right, because when we hear their specific reasoning for it, right on the money. I love the Knights of Lupus. Another note here that I want to make clear for the audience.
It's great to have another Luna wolf.
Space wolves is actually what they're foreshadowing,
wolves.
because they're covered in wolf pelts, and they are coming from the frozen north. And they are in direct opposition to the Lion. And there is a famous rivalry in 40K between the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves. And there is a famous rivalry between the Lion and
Lehman
Russ. So this is like I like this
foreshadowing.
The foreshadowing. The knightly order they had to go to war with is the one that ultimately the Lion will spend a great deal of time butting heads with. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he had an internal bias the first time he let Lehman because of his experience with the Knights of Lupus.
Oh, another fucking wolf guy, not again.
Yeah, not a fucking wolf guy again.
The Lion does not play with the wolf.
Boy. Yeah.
Fucking Starks and Lannister bullshit over here.
Yep.
Oh, God, especially because the Space Wolves...
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Never mind. All right. Well,
that's
funny.
Yep.
That's so funny.
Yeah, the English, very original people. Very original people.
Yeah. I like... There's some... Okay. Sorry. Let me rewind real quick. Something I don't like about this book, I will say this. For as much as they say the citizenry is important and part of the reason we're doing this, they're really not important at all to this story.
Well, no, not really. There's the one woodsman who leads Zahariel to his beast, and
which
that
is a great moment.
It is a great moment. It's wonderful. I love that whole scene, and that is I think the only encounter we get with a non-knight or Astartes. On Caliban.
No? Oh, on Caliban, yes.
Yeah, on Caliban. It's you're right. It is kind of weird. It would be nice if they had. I think there would have been some good opportunities for more complex moments and more difficult, tense, philosophical thoughts if there were serfs in the castle, in the Rock, which is their home base.
The order is supposed to be for the people, and yet the people are not involved in the order, which is strange in that sort of sense, you know?
Well, the people can become members of the order, but you're right. The unaffiliated members don't have anything to do with them except receiving their services and asking for their help.
Well, and they also seem to have this, Warhammer kind of just states that all military will have problems with civilians, which is true.
Absolutely
which
real.
Is true.
Absolutely real. There is no war narrative ever from any country or culture where that's not the case. Yeah.
Right. But I do wish there was more interactions and friction in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially since
that's
why
I really wanted serfs in Alderuk or serving Alderuk, or at least scenes with serfs that are serving Alderuk, the Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other aspect is, will the serfs also believe in religion? And I feel like there would be some more conflict there.
That's true, because the Order, I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, are atheists. They don't
For
have
some
religious
reason.
belief. For some reason, yes. For some reason, they are atheists. That being said, Remiel, who is the man in charge of training the new boys, does say, I don't even know if there's life after death when he's questioned. I think Zahariel asks him. And he says, I don't know.
Well, and it's a commonly held belief that there is one.
Yeah,
on
the planet.
On the planet.
But honestly, I think that's something there's an element that I like here, in that the opportunity that's provided by this perspective. Like, they're atheists among non-theists, or among theists of some degree, or at least spiritualists. There isn't really much of an organized religion on Caliban, it doesn't seem, but there are common spiritual beliefs. You know,
right.
The forest is kind of held in common. You know, it's kind of a vaguely Celtic society. It's a druidic society, but without without druids.
The thing is, there's just no signifiers. The only thing is, when they die, you just walk on to the next life or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like,
vague belief in rebirth of some sort, or cyclical spiritual existence.
And it's like something
spirits
mildly
in the forest,
interesting.
There are spirits of the forest that people are afraid of, and
Yeah.
these are separate but maybe have influence on the beasts. But so what I was trying to get to is that I think that they have a more, I don't know, the Order has a more mature perspective of reality than the Imperium. The Imperium has more scientific knowledge, but the Order's more open-minded, and it's interesting how oftentimes, that is real. Like, people, the more scientific understanding you have of the world, or pseudo-scientific understanding you have of the world, the more you think you understand the fundamental reality of the universe, the more certain you become sometimes. If you don't have a rigorous academic background, and skepticism isn't a part of your reality, then you can become a real dumbass by knowing lots of things. Certainty can become kind of a crutch.
You can be the lion who does know lots of things, but is inevitably doing evil by thinking he knows what to do by killing all the great beasts.
Exactly. He is a microcosm of the Imperium itself. He has great noble ideals, and by not considering, there are angles he's not considering. He takes these huge rash steps that ultimately cause more problems, and that really is
every Primarch. That's the story of a Primarch.
Like every commander-in-chief in history, every war leader. Let's take these big violent strides to solve the problem we see, without thinking about the problems ahead. Now, arguably, that's necessary. It's hard to stop someone when you don't have a good reason to present to them. I wish the Knights of Lupus had explained themselves to him. But
it doesn't help that every time they did explain, they first started the preamble of noble blood should be in noble knights. It's like, okay,
yes.
dude.
But you know what? That's another thing I like about this book. Like, even the guys who are making good points are wrong sometimes, and
I'd say that's pretty common in this series.
I mean, it is, but I don't know. I like shit. I keep forgetting what I was gonna say. I'm losing my train of thought.
That's okay. I think it's just a little goofy that he has to start off every argument to give them all plausible deniability. Where he's like, okay, we can tune this guy out. He was talking about fucking noble blood before saying we need all the beasts. I don't know. This guy's losing his mind.
It's shit. I had something. Sorry. Fuck.
Do you want to talk about the evil forest, the evil woods?
Yeah, let's talk.
A really
about
cool and evocative. It feels
the other lion. And getting there.
Getting to the Zahariel on his quest encounters woods whose vibes are so bad.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot.
It does feel Arthurian in the sense of, this isn't exactly related. This is just something that happens on the adventure, and he had to leave. That place was just too evil.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's the warp, right? So it is literally too evil. There's magic here. There's psychic eminence here.
There's
But
also Watchers?
Yes, which are a thing you would be expected to know, but you don't know, right? Yeah,
I have no clue. It's so cool because these voices just speak from the trees, telling him that, hey, bro, this shit's bad. Turn around, please.
At first, they're voices, and then they reveal themselves to be Jawas.
Wait, yeah, basically, yeah.
Tiny little robed dudes with faces you can't see. So Jawas, but black out the eye holes. And specifically, if you feel as though you would lose your mind if you could see what you can't see.
Right.
That's said a couple times. He would lose his mind if he could see what they actually are. And I think they tell him when he does eventually have conversation with them, this is just the form we take so you can, talk to us. We don't.
Yeah, very contact.
Yeah. Yeah, they seem to be some kind of, there may be aliens, maybe they're warp entities themselves, but they're trying to scare him away from this spooky zone of spookiness.
It's so out of place. It's so seemingly random that it's just rules that is barely reiterated on. Besides the kind of vague warnings that they give Zahariel as he leaves.
Yeah, he even forgets the place. Like he literally forgets that whole sequence, that's what the Watchers do. But he forgets the warning. He forgets the presences that speak to him. He has a vague memory of having received some advice before the fight. I think that's all he's left with.
Yeah.
It's a weird little scene.
It's so weird, especially as someone who probably should know reading this but doesn't. It just feels so strange and almost like a fairy tale in some ways.
Yeah, 40K fans, especially if they're Lion fans, they know who the Watchers are, or they know enough about the Watchers to know they're a thing that exists later. They actually are very mysterious figures in 40K still.
Ooh.
We know a little bit more about them, but not much more.
I love Marvel. I love Watchers. It is funny how a lot of Warhammer feels like a comic. I'm surprised there isn't a lot of comic lines for Warhammers and ongoing issues all the time.
I'm just surprised there aren't more Warhammer comics in general. It really is a universe ripe for comic books, and there are a number of Warhammer comics. I think I've read them all. They're almost all terrible.
Of course,
yeah,
of
terrible.
course.
Yeah.
So he fights a lion.
Yeah, I love the lion. It is this super freaky chimeric beast. It has saber fangs, a pulsing blade mane. Its mane is made of these dagger-like blades these quill blades that pulse. It's rocky armor plates. So it specifically said it's a four-legged thing with teeth and it roars. That's why they call it a lion. But other than that, it's an alien monster. It has rippling, shifting, rocky armor plates that are constantly moving. So you can't even really say it's scaly. It's just this shifting, stony beast with serpent eyes, a horrible
Gotta throw the serpent in there.
A horrible repugnant stench.
Its breath is just putrefaction incarnate.
Yeah, and it's just horribly cruel when it mostly beats
so
the shit
mean.
out of Zahariel. Yeah, it slowly tries to crush him to death when it could just bite his head off. It instead chooses to try and crush him to death. It's an intense fight.
Dick.
You can tell Zahariel's giant warhorse just gets obliterated instantly. He's
14 at this point too.
Yeah, he's just a kid. He's in power armor and he has an explosive pistol and a chainsaw sword, but still, he's 14. This is a huge monster. This is an especially scary monster because first of all, it killed his hero, Amadis.
Yep.
Was one of the other greatest knights ever on this planet. Maybe the third best knight ever on this planet.
Yeah, in the knight's power ranking, he's 3.
Yeah. And he went off to fight this beast because it's from his hometown. And it killed him, or mortally wounded him, and he made it back with just enough life in him to tell Zahariel, to hand Zahariel his gun, and for Zahariel to pledge to kill him.
Yep.
So yes, little boy Zahariel goes off to kill the lion. It destroys his horse. It absorbs every single bullet he puts into it. And famously, there is one other lion on the planet, and the only person who could have possibly killed it was the lion, Lionel Johnson. And apparently, he just barely got away with it too.
I haven't said it yet, but what a ridiculously stupid name, Lionel Johnson.
Yeah, if listeners weren't picking up on when my sarcasm when I said, "Oh yeah, it's great." That's a stupid fucking name. It's among the worst Primarch names, and pretty much all the Primarchs have terrible names. So
it does rule, but it does suck in a way that it feels like in Star Wars there's a way like names have these strange rhythms to them. In Warhammer, you just have to make dumb names.
Do you want to know what's extra dumb about it? You know what Lionel Johnson means?
No, I don't.
So in our language, it means, lion, the son of John.
Right. Okay.
Nope. On Caliban, L. Johnson means of the forest, and lion just means lion. So he's the lion of the forest.
I hate
and
this.
L. Johnson, means of the forest. What? Like that's
what the fuck?
Isn't that stupid?
This sucks.
Wonderful, horrible name.
Another thing we haven't really mentioned. Yeah, the Lion's fight's good. Another thing we haven't mentioned that is kind of throughout the book, which I think is great. There's a lot of dramatic irony in the book that foreshadows what's going to happen in a few pages or the next chapter. Because this is all kind of a tale told by Zahariel, I assume. It's like dropped pretty quickly.
Kind of, yeah. It's we get these sequences where we hear how Zahariel would feel years later about this thing we're seeing right now.
And I think it's good. Like this is one of my favorite ones before he sets off on his quest for the lion. One element would certainly set this moment apart from his later triumphs. He had not yet been made an angel. He had not yet become Astartes. It would make what happened all the more remarkable. It was one thing for a superhuman to succeed in such circumstances. It was quite another for an ordinary human being to do so, especially one who was only halfway through his teens.
I love that. I also love the similar reflection that we get on his return from the lion hunt after he has a moment of psychic ability where time stops and he passes his body with pistol in hand through the lion's torso and into its chest, where he pulls the trigger and finds his arm somehow like magically fused inside its chest but without attaching it. I don't know. Anyway, it's amazing. He has this freaky moment of psychic ability that's terrifying, where he travels through the warp technically to shoot his gun inside the beast. Really
I guess
cool.
That's what would be happening, huh?
No, that is literally what happens later. Much in the next section where he has the discussion with the librarian,
where another fraternity tries to rush him.
Yes. As Raphael tells him, "Dude, what you did was moving through the warp. Crazy dangerous. Really cool and rare." But the thing I like is on his return from this fight with the severed head of the lion in tow, on his return to the castle, he has this beautiful little moment where he's joyous upon his return, but he is unaware of the mourning his friends have gone through, and so he is like the sole member of the order currently rejoicing as he approaches the gate. I don't know why I love that moment so much, but it's
good.
it's this weird little complex emotion. There's this sadness and melancholy and wistfulness alongside the admiration and envy that the other boys feel. I don't know. You really get that in the scene with Adius. He's super sad because he's like, I'm so proud of you, Zahariel, but you might have just killed one of the last beasts, dude. I'm still just a little boy.
Yep.
Like I'll never get to be a knight now, because it's an essential part of becoming a knight is you have to go on a beast quest and hunt a beast by yourself. And we're about to be out of beasts, which means there's going to be no more knights. And that is a really strong moment in the text, I think, where Zahariel's like, oh my God, you're right. I didn't even think about that. There's going to be no more knights. What does that mean? What is that? My whole life was about being a knight. That was the whole point of everything. Become a knight. And now I am a knight. What do I do? And what happens when we're not needed at all? He almost starts thinking about it.
Well, thankfully there's a siege to do.
Yes. Yeah, it'll come up later. But yeah, he gets fully initiated after this kill.
They have a party where Luther is sad.
Yeah, they do the human springboard. They throw him up the air, and the lion is smiling, which is the most astonishing and terrifying thing Zahariel's ever seen, apparently. He thought he would never, ever see these grim faces smiling. And Luther is really sad, and he's pretty drunk.
Oh, yeah. Luther is a wine mom.
He is. Something, I don't know if I'm just imagining this, but I think first of all, I think he's pretty clearly jealous of Zahariel. I'm not imagining that. The lion later tells Zahariel, the Luther's probably jealous of you. You killed the last lion on this planet. The only other thing that could have brought him to my level is what he's implying,
Yeah.
Luther's probably pretty mad about that, actually. He's low-key probably jealous. I think we see a clear sign of that in that the first thing he says or one of the first things he says to Zahariel after congratulating him is, sorry I had to play the devil. I swear I didn't really mean it. The devil being the role in that interrogation where he was just being a shitty monster, because Luther was the one who started the order's practice of letting commoners into the order, and Zahariel is a noble. And Luther, the whole time during his interrogation, was telling Zahariel, you're just a pretty little noble boy. You didn't earn this. You don't deserve this. There's no good reason for you to be here. And then, out of nowhere, after he's fully initiated, Luther says, I swear I didn't mean anything I was saying when I was playing the devil. It was me saying all those horrible things to you, right? I don't know. I think that's intentional. I think he wants Zahariel to feel like maybe it was real. I don't think Zahariel would have ever questioned that role was anything but ceremonial.
And there's also maybe a part where Zahariel is, if there's any human that was getting close to the lion, it's Zahariel, not Luther.
Yeah.
Because of killing the lion and doing all these great achievements as just a boy.
Yeah.
In a way, the lion killed the Calvinite lion, but the lion was also a superhuman.
Yeah, he's basically not human, and the only reason Zahariel did it is because he's psychic, or he's a psyker.
Yeah,
he
is
has
also
magic powers,
superhuman in a different way. He is another superhero.
Which I wish there was a moment where after they become Astartes, Nemiel can be kind of vindicated, because it eventually is found out, because Zahariel's hiding it for now. He's afraid of being burned as a witch, because apparently that's something that people do on Caliban.
So again, the religion seems important in this planet, but not that important to talk about. That's a
okay. So this is actually a detail, because he said in our ancient past, people would burn witches. That's actually a reference to Old Night, because there were rampant psychers is part of what caused the collapse of the old human empire, and so that would be just a thing that the pre-devolution into feudal medieval society, they would have been purging psychers, and then
Of
that
course,
probably...
but it is an interesting like missed opportunity when you have these references of what the people believe and the things that Zahariel fears, and there's just kind of no confrontation on that post Imperium. It's just like fine.
Well, spoilers.
And, yeah, and maybe this changes in the next book because this book is
there is
part one.
there is a sequel to this book. And the sequel to this book, it's been a minute. I don't know if I ever finished that one, but I am fairly sure it does touch on that. Like we return to the question of Calibanites' religion that may or may not exist and their culture and how that would butt up against the Imperium.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm fairly sure we return to these topics.
Right, and there's something that's so important to remember too. And again, we kind of really didn't mention it because it really doesn't matter, but it does. The narrator, which I assume is Zahariel, is telling you how why we turned against the lion. Now you don't find out about that in this book at all. I mean, you get the seeds of heresy, you might say, are sown in this book. But
yeah,
the kind of promises of civil war between the Dark Angels kind of really doesn't pan out yet. So I assume that's for the next book.
Yeah, it's that's when we actually get to see these characters in the Heresy. That's when that obviously comes through.
Yeah. But it is interesting to introduce the book like this and then just not.
So I like this though in the respect that or at least that we feel the tension brewing prior to them even meeting the Imperium. Because I think we should have more of this kind of stuff in the other factions too.
Yep.
Like there should be clearer signs that there is potential for a breaking up of things before one guy decides, hey, no, fuck this. Because like it's just utterly unthinkable to absolutely fucking everyone in the Imperium that an Astartes could possibly ever turn on anyone. Absolutely unthinkable to the entirety of the billions and billions and trillions strong human race. And it's pretty obvious what's potentially going to collapse in this book.
Daddy issues.
Yeah, daddy issues.
It's always daddy issues.
It really is.
Dad grounded me. Yeah, so the siege of the Knights of Lupus. I like the mortar fire with the medieval castle with mortar fire. Cool concept.
Yeah, it's we've got like World War I weaponry in a medieval siege with siege towers and siege ladders and testudos, and like classic like sapper, wall breaching charges, but also trenches and mortars, artillery.
It's very Napoleonic in that way, right? Where you have this weird mix of...
That's probably a closer comparison. It's just that the weaponry is slightly more advanced, but I think you're right. The
it's
tactics
Napoleonic,
are
but what if Napoleon was like had future blueprints?
Yeah.
And his sword made a ring noise.
So the swords are have engines, and the people using them are in armor on foot instead of on horseback.
But sometimes on horseback.
Sometimes on horseback, yeah.
Those horses having to carry that power armor. Woof. Big horses. They gotta be so huge and muscular.
Yes, they are big and huge and muscular. And
I wish he had a good
black.
relationship to his horse, or I wish there was more dynamics of how I can't have a good relationship to my horse because they always die. I wish there was more horse action in this. I won't lie.
Yeah, there is basically zero horse action. The horses exist to immediately die, to take you to battle and then die.
Yep. It's such a damn shame. I needed Zahariel to be like, no, Jessica 3.
The siege is brutal. It's bloody. A lot of guys die, that's how sieges work. It's, despite their tiny numbers comparatively, the Knights of Lupus are well fortified, and it almost breaks the order, this gigantic knightly order that's much, much larger than any other knightly order on the planet. They almost fail. But the Lion, being a Primarch, has this strategic genius move to put all their eggs in one basket, but not really.
Right. The Lion is like a feint and is a distraction.
Yeah. Yes, his assault, which is, you would assume would be the lead assault, is actually one of 3 feints, while Luther leads the real charge. Which that's kind of like an inherently insulting thing for Luther, right? like you'll be the main attack, and no one will ever see that coming.
Well, you got to remember Luther's real problem with this plan. Let me read from the book. He said his place was where it had always been, right by the Lion's side, until death claimed them both. If you die, Lion, then I die with you. That's what Luther said. Gay. Jesus.
Yeah, it is pretty gay. It's they have a really complicated relationship because Luther's it's like his brother, his adopted father, and his best friend, lover, all in one.
And his most rival. Hated enemy.
Yeah, it's great. Actually, like,
I wish there was more to it. There's not enough. There's not enough Luther and Lion content.
Not in this one. There's more, I think, in the next one, but in general, definitely not enough.
I just need them being bros more.
Yeah.
I need them to be bros that need to die by next to each other, which is not gay. It's not gay. It's just what brothers want to do. When 2 males want to die next to each other, it's not gay.
Yeah.
Love is neither gay nor straight. I will say this. Sex can be gay and straight.
Let's bring up sex for a minute, because there's no sex on Caliban.
It's so strange that there's no sex in these books at all.
Yeah.
These books are so sexless. There's not even women in this book until Rihanna shows up.
Right, and she's just there to be a victim. It's like literally just there to be a damsel in distress. And her rescue is pretty brutal.
Jesus. No women in this book.
Yeah, one woman in this book who goes through a horrible torment and then explodes.
It's so bad. It's so fucking bad.
That's pretty bad. Yeah. It's kind of crazy to think about, like that.
It's wild they named her Rihanna. I'm just also saying this at the same time. It feels very intentional in a strange way.
It's not spelled the same, but that is, yeah.
It's not spelled the same, but come on. It's 2007. Come on.
Yeah. So the siege ends with the scene in the library, Wait, sorry. What am I missing? What am I skipping?
Don't forget when the Knights of Lupus lure the Order into a boss arena and unleash all the monsters in the cages.
Oh, I did skip that. I skipped Luther pretty fantastically and heroically leading that main charge up a narrow breach of wall, most men dying, and he's like single-handedly surging ahead of everyone and giving them commands and telling them not to stop, and he pulls off this sick pistol shot that stops a mine before it hits these guys. Like the Luther kind of rules in this whole sequence. He's kicking ass, and it's all just so that the Lion can steal it from him, because as you mentioned, after Nemiel being the first one across the breach, actually, Zahariel's cousin, they get into the fight. The Knights of Lupus are pretty tough, but there's a heck of a lot more Knights of the Order. They beat them down, they make them run, and then when they get to the inner courtyard or whatever of this castle thing, to the area just outside the main keep, they find that, oh my god, the Knights of Lupus have been caging and trying to, I don't know, breed maybe, or in some way save the beast population of Caliban. They've been at the very least keeping them alive in this massive cage network with rails and stuff. Which, if they have this whole huge extensive network of cages, they've probably been doing this for a while.
Yep. I bet they did it as soon as Lionel Johnson declared war, right?
Yeah, if not something they've been doing forever, because the Knights, maybe the Knights of Lupus are just more inquisitive of what the beasts even are. Maybe they've been
Their tradition.
Capturing them to observe them and learn from them. Because after we fight these horrible beasts and many more knights die, and this weird like low to the ground lizard thing almost like kills everybody.
Evil armadillo.
Yeah. And Luther like sets up this awesome, basically like an alley-oop move for Luther. I mean, for Luther. Yeah, Luther sets it up for the lion where he gets the he like pins the lizard by the neck or something like that with a spear. Yeah. He does this sick like this sick move, and he gets into this perfect position just so that the lion can mount it and throw his or drive his sword through its skull. It's awesome.
Sick.
It's a very clearly neither of these guys could have done it without the other kind of thing.
But Luther's like crawling out under the monster, like almost in a comedy fashion.
Drenched in gore while everyone says, "Lion, lion, lion." And Zahariel sees just the most like ghastly scowl on Luther's face. And that's a good little moment there. He's very clearly like, dude, this was me too, man. Like, what? But everybody celebrates the lion because he got the coup de grace.
And he looks the prettiest while doing it too. Like, I mean, like I imagine the image is like
real.
He's doing the pose, right? Like,
and this is yet another book where we find out that the lion is like, you will literally drop your jaw when you see him. I think Zahariel, the first time he sees him, like that's what happens. His jaw drops. He's so like magnetically just dripping
pretty.
with Riz, baby. Yeah,
he's so pretty.
Yeah, and but that is across the board with all but one Primarch though. They all
Ferris?
have this. No, even Ferris has that mystical, magical. People are in awe of him. Like the other Astartes are like, oh my god, two Primarchs in one room. No, the one Primarch for whom no one gets this effect is Angron. Actually,
that's funny.
And there's a lore reason for it, of course, but.
Of
Angron.
course. It can't
Angron,
be just because he's an angry dude.
No, he literally has a physiological kind of reason why he can't project magical aura.
Angron cannot aura farm.
So lion, super pretty. Everybody loves how good he is at killing beasts. They march into the fort. Lion makes it clear, all right, these motherfuckers are fucking with beasts. Maybe they're fucking the beasts. Every one of them dies. No prisoners. So men and boys march into the fort, into the keep to look for the last of the Knights of Lupus. And wouldn't you know, Zahariel and Nemiel happen to be the two special boys who find the Grand Master of the Knights of Lupus waiting in his library. The name of this castle, by the way, that we're besieging, what is it? Sanguila? Like Sanguila. I love that. Like Blood Heaven or something.
Yeah.
Sanguila. Anyway, we get to see the master, and he's not in his armor anymore. Last time we saw him, he was in his big scary wolf armor. Now he's in robes. And he's just an old man sitting in the biggest library on Caliban by an order of magnitude. We find out these guys are the bookiest bookers on the planet. They have a lot of knowledge, and then their Grand Master drops this pretty serious wisdom on the boys that definitely makes Zahariel think twice. Nemiel, not as much. But I do love this section. I love this Lord Sartana, that's his name. Lord Sartana, the
Sartana.
Wolf Lord. Yeah. He makes this, the point that Ozymandias makes in The Watchmen. We need a bigger bad guy than us, or we'll kill each other. The reason why
we do not dwell well with peace.
Yes.
We do not do well with peace.
Yeah, humans need the beasts to keep us from killing each other. And he is absolutely fucking right. Something that Zahariel reflects on while he's engaged in this war, as he approaches the battle line before the siege actually finally finishes, is that it's so different from a beast hunt. Like this is still combat, this is still battle, but it is a completely different beast than hunting a beast. Hunting a beast is an intimate thing. It's one-on-one. You can take pride in knowing that you as a human used a combination of your intellect and honed skill and ability to overcome this great challenge of a monster, animal on animal, survival of the fittest, blah, 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 blah. Intimate,
and overcoming
close.
your fear.
Overcoming your fear. It's about, it's about finding a respect for yourself. War is just random chance. People fucking die for no good reason. Doesn't matter how skilled you are. It's, to a large degree, it's just how fucking lucky you are. It's cold, it's impersonal, and as he thinks about with perhaps the most horror, you might never even see the man who kills you.
Yeah.
It's totally impersonal and cold, and an utter horror compared to the also horrifying prospect of fighting a terrible mutated monster. But it's a really good point that when we have a greater bad guy, when we have a greater evil, we unite. Enemies of enemies become friends, and having friends is good. But when you ain't got no enemies, you make some. That seems to be human nature, at least. And Sartana's right, man. If it wasn't for the coming of the Imperium in the next book, I think it's almost guaranteed that this planet would start falling apart. But who knows? Who knows? We'll never know.
I do like this goofy ass line that Sartana says. You know that expression about darkness, don't you? That the road into darkness is paved with men's good intentions.
Oh yeah, that saying about darkness. That one saying about darkness.
It's just so funny because it's you can't say hell because they removed that sort of religious aspect, and this is what is left: the road to darkness, and it's the most Kingdom Hearts ass line.
It's a little, it's a little lumpy.
I do like Zahariel thinking about Lord Santana's words and this passage. A great many years had yet to pass before he would think of those words frequently.
Yes.
He would wonder whether he could have changed the future. By then, of course, it was far too late. And I love it when the book does this. It does it really well.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I guess it's because I read a lot of Stephen King. Stephen King also does this maneuver pretty well, too. But Mitchell Scanlon does it also really good for this book. And I honestly love it. It's nice. It's flavorful. Yeah. It is ominous as hell.
Another praising of Scanlon moment I have is, tying it back to, this is clearly, this guy understands what's wrong with war and with colonialism and the Imperium, I think. He understands it better than anybody else. And that's when Zahariel's thinking about the victory in the war and how, we have it, hooray, it's so good. He also finds that thinking about the victory brings a nagging sense of things undone and opportunities missed. And I think the fact that is what we're left with as he thinks about the war that was just concluded, that there's a nagging sense of things undone and opportunities missed, not a thing completed and found, successful and happily ever after. We've broken something. We have irreparably lost something in what we just did. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That line really struck me.
Yeah, there's some good lines in this, like just straight up good lines that I really enjoy.
Are we ready
for Book 3 Imperium?
Yeah.
Book 3 Imperium. The Imperium arrives on Caliban and colonizes the planet. All young knights are participating in trials to see who will become an Astartes. During the training, Zahariel is brought During the training, Zahariel is brought to the Esper Space Marines so he can eventually join their rank. Zahariel is brought to a secret meeting of knights. The knights plot to assassinate the Emperor. During the military parade, Zahariel uses his psychic abilities to stop them. The Lion gives a speech where he ominously names his legion the Dark Angels.
Good summary, as always. This is when we begin to see most clearly how horrible the Imperium is. Like, this is like the devastating colonization of Caliban is quite a thing to watch. Like, this planet that's famous for its giant forests and its mystical forests, which specifically the characters are all in just like total beautiful awe of, leading up to the Astartes finding them. That last quest into the woods with the lion and a random smattering of knights on horseback. They're just in awe of how beautiful their planet is and how much opportunity they have now that the beasts are gone and how great it's going to be.
And then the Thunderbirds arrive.
Yes, and then the Thunderbirds arrive and the Imperium is here and everything is smashed. Like the Mechanicum bring these enormous machines down to the planet to clear just acres and acres and acres of woods and flatten it and destroy it and crack through the mountains. Yeah, destroy the mountains and blast through them and get all down to the goods. And the planet very, very quickly becomes an industrialized, war-based society. Like almost everyone is getting inducted either into the Astartes or the army, or they're working in these manufactories to produce weapons. And this was a paradise world. Like, this was like not a paradise. It was very, very dangerous.
Comparatively a paradise world.
But gorgeous and with potential. I love it. I like how everyone's really excited about the huge leaps forward in technology, specifically what it means for medicine. The things that always pull people into colonialism or allow them to accept it or apologize for it. And then they find that they're losing everything, not just their resources, but also their young people, and their culture, their very culture. Now, the thing that the Knights are mostly complaining about is how egalitarian the Imperium is compared to everything else. Like, that's their biggest complaint. Which
is so strange for a Knight Order.
So it's strange. Also that is, kind of historical. Like, the people who are going to push back against the colonizers the most are usually the people who were in power beforehand. Which sucks because that's
it's more the order the order that accepted peasants into its ranks being mad about peasants is so strange.
So we do find out that a couple of members of this little secret cabal are not original members of the order.
That's right.
They're from other orders, but you're right that there were also members of the order who wanted this as well.
Luther's in that meeting, right?
The last guy who speaks is almost definitely Luther.
Yeah. So another theory I kind of had is Luther been secretly plotting against the Lion the entire time, and all these have been just failed plot attempts?
Maybe.
It's probably not. It does. It makes the relationship way less meaningful.
Yeah,
I think it makes it worse. But it would be funny if constantly, the reason Luther spoke to the Knights of Lupus is because he thought he was going to be Grandmaster and could make the actual deal, or because something would happen to the Lion.
Yeah. I think we get pretty clear indications.
That's not true.
When we get to Sarosh, I think the big mistake Luther makes is probably the first time he actually acted on that feeling.
Right.
But I agree. I think it's heavily implied that Luther was a part of this plot against the Emperor, the plan to blow up the Emperor. which is kind of cool. Like these
sick.
guys are like, this is a giant intergalactic, vastly technologically superior society that has just shown up and completely changed everything about our world. Yeah, let's just blow up their leader. That'll do it. We'll go into the forest.
What if they blew up the biggest guy?
Yeah, we'll just blow them up, and then what are they gonna do? Chase us into the woods? We know the woods.
Also, I like Zahariel asked, "What does a man like that even look like?" About like the Emperor. I'm like, great question, man. Same.
Yeah, and I think is it Nemiel who sarcastically says, "Oh, I bet he's 10 meters tall."
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. He's got to be huge. Look at these guys. They're all huge. If he's their leader, he must be the hugest. Yeah.
Nemiel's right. Nemiel has the correct sort of inclination.
Nemiel understands the Warhammer universe.
He understands the height hierarchy.
Yes.
I do like some of the knights bring up like, hey, they're conquering us. They're just not doing it violently. We are currently being conquered right now through assimilation. And they need us to go along with this because they can't afford to fight us.
Yeah, they're absolutely right. It's not going to go anywhere though, as you mentioned in this summary. Zahariel catches them basically and stops them.
Yep.
Now, prior to this, I believe is the
erotic scene between Zahariel and Nemiel.
The race? You think the race is erotic?
Oh, I mean the post-massage, the post-race massage.
Okay. We need to talk about the race before we can talk about the massage.
That's so true.
So I really enjoy the race.
It's good. It's so good.
Yeah, Zahariel and Nemiel are going through this intense training because they're just at the cusp. They're just young enough that they could become Astartes. Now that the lion has been found, the Primarch of the First Legion has been reunited with his big boys. The little boys of his knightly order are going to be given the opportunity to become Space Marines. And
they're going to be able to receive the lion's seed.
Yeah, the gene seed.
Yes.
So they could be extra. They could be double boys.
I've heard this before. I've heard this cultural practice before.
Yeah, again, very, very much Greek life. This is a fraternity practice. No. So Zahariel and Nemiel are going through this intense training. They're like, damn, this is harder than it was to train to get into the order. This is crazy. And then Nemiel's like, what, you don't want to go for a run? And Zahariel's like, yeah, no, fuck you. We'll go for a run. 10 laps? Yeah, dude. Yeah, we'll do 10 laps. And then Nemiel's like regretting it, but he's not going to back down now. So they go on a run. They're pretty much neck and neck until towards the end, Zahariel pulls ahead. He taps into an inner well of strength. He doesn't know where it comes from, but his
luck.
He just finds it. Yeah, his luck, his psychic ability. And he laps his cousin. And
it's so fucking rude.
It's fucking savage. Yeah, he and I like it though, especially because Zahariel's been presented as the noblest, the goodest, the most idealistic and kind of pretty much anybody we've met in the book so far. And then he does this to his cousin. He laps him. And by the time he laps him, basically everybody's watching their race, like all the Astartes, all the other trainees. And so he does it in front of a big crowd. But this race is what gets him noticed by Israfel, the librarian, the psychic Astartes. But yes, as you point out, as Israfel approaches him, what is he doing? He's giving a nice, thorough rub down to.
Let me just read this.
Nemiel. Yeah.
Zahariel offered his cousin his hand and said, "Come on, you need to stretch." His cousin waved his hand away, gasping for air and keeping his eyes squeezed shut. Zahariel knelt down and began massaging his cousin's leg, working out the knots of tension in his muscles with hard sweeps of his fingertips. "That hurts," cried Nemiel. "It'll hurt more if I don't do it," pointed out Zahariel. Nemiel bit his lip as Zahariel carried on with his ministrations, his breathing gradually becoming more even as his body began to recover from the exertions of the race.
He starts with the leg.
He starts with the legs.
He starts with the legs with sweeps. Yeah.
Well, and it's also just like we got to also realize the realities of like a boyhood knight order, too.
Yes, and that's why I'm gonna be real. I did not pick up on any eroticism here because I was just like, yeah, this is a knightly order of warrior soldiers. This is what knightly order warrior soldiers do for each other. They're cousins, but
in the era of knightly orders, squires and pages and whatnot, I mean, it wasn't uncommon for cousins to be doing things more.
Wasn't uncommon, yeah, and the further back in time you go, the more common it was.
Well, and it's just the more common because, again, they're just constantly with men all the time. They're constantly put in homosocial relationships, and they have no outlet but one. And we can't have the excuse here, well, they're Astartes, of course they're not fucking. They don't desire that. Well, in here, all these boys are fucking. Like, all these men, like, Luther's probably, the biggest thing that Luther probably has against the Lion is the Lion doesn't feel the desire to fuck Luther. Like, this is now my...
Yeah.
Luther acts like a man spurned, you know?
Yeah, he does. He doesn't, the Lion doesn't want to fuck him, or the Lion fucks better than him. Luther can give any man an incredible orgasm, but the Lion can look at you and you'll come.
God. Yeah. So I do think though it just keeps, these books keep falling into the trap of, well, this is what happens when you don't have women. I'm just gonna assume it's all gay. And it's not a bad trap. Keep falling in this trap, please. It's great.
It is a suspicious lack of women, though. Absolutely.
Yeah, this book has the most suspicious lack of women.
So yes, we get Israfel telling Zahariel, hey, you're special, and I think I want you to be a part of our. Yeah, I want you. I want you to join my library.
I want you to join my group of librarians. Don't mind my staff with a skull on it.
So Zahariel gets roped into this meeting that we've been talking about. That Nemiel pulls him into, because Nemiel's been listening. He's been talking. He's been talking to the big boys, the big kids, the men,
the older knights who knew the way it was.
Yeah, they don't like this Imperium nonsense. So Nemiel's been roped into that discussion. He wants Zahariel in on it, even though Zahariel is very clearly a big fan of the Imperium, and is defending them to Nemiel. Goes to the meeting anyway. It's a secret chamber underneath the circle chamber that he didn't even know was there. So it's an inner circle under and within the circle.
Damn.
And here the sneaky men in robes who do not reveal themselves except one partially in profile.
Well, it's because he has a big ass chin.
Big old chin and nose, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jutting features of some sort. He rejects their idea to blow up the emperor. He's like, well, that's stupid. No. Well,
and first he rejects their idea to do a massive terrorism.
Oh yeah, their first idea is to do a false flag attack against their own people and blame it on the Imperium. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then the man who is implied to be Luther is like, nah. You guys are thinking too small. See, we need to blow them all up. Blow them up.
You
kill
see,
them all.
Lion, my lover. I mean, the Lion loves the Emperor so much. Maybe we should blow him up, and maybe he can love other people again.
It doesn't work on Zahariel. He leaves in a huff, and all the other guys start yelling and shouting.
And he tells Nemiel, like, hey, If you guys proceed with this, I'm gonna tattle. And
yeah, I swear I'm gonna tell on you guys.
this is the
Nemiel's
most
like,
boyish that Zahariel is in the book.
Yeah, for sure. Especially because he just believes it when Nemiel's like, dude, it's just talk. It's just talk. They're just, you know how old guys get. They just be like, oh, I'm gonna kill that guy. Remember when we used to say that about our teacher? We'd be like, oh, I wish a beast would eat him. And Zahariel's like, dude, this is not that. They are literally plotting an assassination, bro.
They're joking about killing the president. That's different.
Yeah. And Nemiel's like, no. I swear, dude. I swear it's just jokes. And Zahariel's like, well, you gonna tell them to stop, little 15-year-old boy? You gonna tell those men to stop?
Not even tell those men to stop. You tell those men that if you don't stop, I will tell the lion. You're right.
Yeah.
And then leaves and's like, that will do it.
That'll do it.
What are you doing, guy?
Yep. Honestly, so here's my secret theory. I don't know that Zahariel actually believes they're not going to go through with it. I think he just doesn't want to accept that he will have to tell on his cousin, which will get him kicked out of the running to be an Astartes.
I do think he believes in it. I actually do think he believes in it because he's a child.
Okay, so I agree that he believes it, but I think he's made himself believe it.
Yeah. For sure. He's not noticing the obvious signs of his cousin saying all these things.
Yeah, almost willfully ignorant.
It mirrors the Space Marines betraying, right? It is the same sort of like it's doing the George Lucas. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Like I can't imagine these people would actually betray their knightly oath. That's impossible. Like even the Knights of Lupus were following their leaders. Like they wouldn't betray their leaders. This is different. Like no knight would ever go against the orders of the Lion now that they're all united.
Yeah, these are kind of Loken Tarvitz levels of naivety for sure.
Yeah.
We get to this big epic scene on this massive plaza that's been cleared. The entire forest in front of Aldoruk, their castle, has been completely demolished and flattened for this immense arena to be formed to receive the Emperor.
They put an amphitheater in there.
Yeah, they create an entire amphitheater just for the one-time landing of the Emperor. They create these massive, like, meters-tall bonfires all over the place, just burning, like, just huge plumes of smoke.
Well, a big fire
carrying
for a
off
big
into the
boy.
sky. And when the Emperor does arrive, he, like, doesn't
you
he,
mean
like,
the
descend?
descent of angels?
Yeah, well...
That's what this event is called.
Yeah, the descent of angels, the title drop moment.
Yeah, the titular descent as the Empire come. I don't think we even see him come at all. We just see a golden ship start to land.
That's what I was saying. Is like we see this big golden ship come down from atmosphere to land in the amphitheater, and as it's coming down, the move is being made to bring these. It's ultimately just like a backpack full of like mines, like landmines, like a backpack full of landmines.
Not a backpack full of landmines, a backpack full of C4 because they're plastic.
Is it plastic?
There's something about like the way the Imperium described.
I thought they were like discs, but
maybe. It is are they claymores? What are they?
I think it's just landmines. So the way they're described, it sounds kind of
they got like a button on the front. That's right.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like melta bombs or what melt because like there's melta charges in Warhammer that look kind of like that. At least how I'm picturing it in my head. So I don't know. Anyway.
I thought you were just making something up, and then I forgot that Warhammer does have a term called
MELTA.
Yeah,
MELTA is a type of weapon. It's
right.
Like heat ray bombs, basically.
I love that I'm not retaining as much as I thought I would about Warhammer, so I'm just going to be surprised often.
Yeah, I'm consistently surprised how much you didn't pick up in Rogue Trader. I'll say that.
Look out for the Rogue Trader episode, which should be sometime after this.
Yay.
On Club Flashpoint.
On Club Flashpoint. Too many games.
Club Flashpoint. Too many games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how he has to pass out so we can't see the
explosives.
Emperor.
Yeah, mundane explosives to kill the Emperor. And yes, he passes out. He gets choked out by an Astartes who only sees two men fighting in the crowd. Doesn't see.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
A legitimately scary moment.
Yeah, like he's like squeezing to kill. And he can feel the anger behind the glowing red eye lenses. And that anger is literally, as far as we could tell, just because they disrupted the Emperor's arrival. Like, they're just, like, as far as this Astartes knows, these guys are just wrestling on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Fucking evil ass guy.
So Zahariel ends up getting interrogated yet again, but this one's for real.
One's for real.
And it's with Space Marines, and there's psychic mind probing. This is actually, so this being the second interrogation.
That makes sense on what's happening.
This is foreshadowing, actually, because a famous thing people know about 40k Dark Angels, they love interrogations. They love doing interrogations, especially psychic investigations.
Hold on, stop. There's nothing about them in this book that would indicate they're the interrogators.
Well, this is purely aesthetic. This is an aesthetic parallel. But it is an intentional. I'm telling you, it's an intentional one. This being I'm just saying, like, if
this
second interrogation, and we don't see interrogations in any of the other books, really. There's only really the Night Lords love to do interrogations too, but that's just because they literally just enjoy torturing people. The Dark Angels are famous for doing interrogations, and specifically like psychic interrogations.
Why wasn't there any hints that fucking Lionel Johnson is doing interrogations? Why not start establishing that in some way?
Because reasons.
Okay.
There are reasons why.
Reasons.
That's not established.
Yes. Okay.
Remember, 40k. That's a long time.
Yeah, that's 10,000 years. That's fair.
Yeah. So again, I'm not saying this is genuine foreshadowing. I used that word. This is an aesthetic parallel to future things that fans know about.
Okay.
I'm just acknowledging it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It seemed to me, it kind of also read they turned the lights off and started pushing him.
Well, no, they did. So they did literally.
They do
both.
off. That's right. Okay.
So yeah, because their armor can see in the dark, and Astartes can kind of see in the dark even without their armor on. But yeah. So this is just part of the interrogation to scare the shit out of him.
It's very funny though. Now. It's very frat.
It's another classic frat move.
As they're just like pushing
yell
him,
at them in a circle.
Yell at them and occasionally push him. It seems like, and like rough him up here and there.
Yeah, this is like half the hazing rituals we see in this book are like verbatim Zeta Sigma rituals. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. You're crazy if you do this and you think it's normal and cool. Truly. I'm not speaking ironically. This hazing is insane.
Hazing's insane. Yeah, no, this is insane. This interrogation's insane, especially when they can just psychic probe them.
Yeah, and they're ready to, like, he very clearly saved the day in that scene where he tackles the other man who had explosives on him, and they are pretty sure, or they're pushing him to the point where they seem like they're sure that he was a part of it. No, you guys are a part of it. I don't care that you were fighting on the ground and you were trying to stop him. You must have been a part of this. But the good point they make is, how did you know? How the fuck did you know that this guy was gonna do that? And at first he doesn't want to say it all.
Yeah, because he wants to protect his cousin, which he is able to manage to do. He is able to keep Nemiel out of the picture.
Yes,
suspiciously out.
Yes. Is Raphael? Yeah, reads his brain, and can then back up the his claim that he was there to save the day. And I also like that one moment in that interrogation where Raphael knows he's hiding something. He knows he's lying about something, but he doesn't want to dwell on it because he wants access to Zahariel's potential.
Yeah,
he wants
Zahariel's super cool.
Yeah. Like this kid has terror sight, as it's called. the ability to stop time
Stupid.
and
Terror
see through
sight.
shit and move through shit. Yeah, they call it terror sight. Yeah, very rare ability. Very dangerous.
Rare ability that activated terror sight.
Yes. Yeah. So he
The
gets
lion
away
gives
with
a speech.
Lion gives a speech. You will be known as my dark angels.
It
Yeah,
is a
famous
cool military speech in the way that Horus never had it, which is really funny. I
It's,
actually enjoyed the lion speech way more than any speech Horus ever gave.
Oh yeah, I believe the lion as a charismatic figure way more than I believe Horus as a charismatic figure.
Especially when he's sadly looking up at the stars and like, I feel like my future's up there. Just having a different book happening. Like
that reminds me of a scene from the last section where the lion is or maybe that's this section when the lion's looking up at the stars and he has that moment with Zahariel.
Yeah,
this
the
is when
last
Zahariel's first inducted.
Yep.
Yeah, the last section. Where the lion says, sometimes I wish Terra never existed. Sometimes I wish this was it, just Caliban.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting moment. I don't know.
it works much better in my head when he's a sad lion looking a little droopy. Instead of some weird white blonde guy.
Yeah. Another white blonde guy.
Another white blonde guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, come on.
It is
shut up.
wild that there are 20 Primarchs and only one of them is black. And he's not even like a black guy. He just has literally coal black skin because of the planet he landed on.
I can't get into this guy again.
Oh my god. We'll talk about Vulcan when we meet Vulcan.
Yeah. Again, we'll talk about Vulcan when we meet Vulcan again.
Yeah. Are we ready? Are we ready to take a step forward?
Or Book 4, Crusade. The Dark Angels are deployed to the planet Sorosh to oversee a complex bureaucratic nightmare. A Soroshi delegation is sent to negotiate with the Lion. Being an Esper, Zahariel senses danger and discovers a nuclear warhead on the Soroshi shuttle. After he saves the day, the Lion is informed about a demon being summoned.
Kind of. It's a Xenos beast that comes from the warp.
Yeah. They go to Sorosh and fight aliens protecting the demon. Zahariel saves the day when he shoots the human that was going to be the sacrifice to give them time to activate the electro-psychic bomb. After Sorosh is conquered, the Lion sends Zahariel, along with the others he dislikes, home to train the new Space Marines on Caliban.
Because Luther almost killed the Lion.
Hell yeah.
Almost allowed the Lion to be assassinated.
So I really like that the White Scars have to leave Sorosh because they basically have used bureaucracy as a weapon to forestall colonization.
Very effectively, too. For an entire year, an entire standard year, they have literally stopped all progress of the Imperium from conquering this planet without once instigating combat with the Imperium.
Amazing. Beautiful.
It is absolutely amazing.
Too bad there's a fucked up reason. Too bad these people can't just be cool.
Really is too bad. I think the fact that there happens to be chaos on this planet is like the most disappointing thing about this book. Chaos didn't need to be on this planet.
No.
It could have just been a society that doesn't want to give in to the Imperium. We could have just left it at that.
Yeah. I really do like
the climax should have been Luther telling the Lion, "Hey, I almost assassinated you."
The climax should have been a fight. Like a verbal argument with Luther and the Lion and Zahariel.
Yeah. And Nemiel. Let Nemiel be there too.
Yeah, for some odd reason, Nemiel is no longer really a part of this book, even though he is seemingly vital to the Lion. It's unhinged.
Yeah, he just more and more often Nemiel is seen alongside the Lion because he needs to be. Yeah.
Yeah, that felt the most like, Nemiel is actually important to the rest of this shit, huh?
It's fitting that the section of this book that exclusively deals with Space Marines is by far the worst part of this book.
So fitting. Even though I do think it does those interesting comparisons that I mentioned earlier, where it's like now that you can see Zahariel post angelified, and he's different, but he still thinks the same, but he has such callousness and less sensitivity to him, and in ways of just feeling the world around him. Yeah,
and it is mentioned a couple times that combat no longer brings it brings thrill, but no longer fear. It's merely exclusively actually anticipation, and I like that's mentioned a couple times by a couple of Astartes that like I just want to go to battle. I just want to fucking fight something, man. And that's actually the real reason why the White Scars leave, is because they're like, man, this fucking sucks. We need to go fight something. This is not our kind of war. This kind of persuasion and back and forth and bureaucracy. Fuck it. We just got to go fight something, man. It's been a year. We ain't fought nothing in a year. We got to get out of here.
We're war dogs, not guard dogs. Come on.
Yeah. And everybody is just itching to go to battle. Like, just give me something to do, man. And it's not scary. It's merely thrilling.
I like this introspection from Zahariel. He had taken his first steps along a road that could lead to incredible power. But his first forays into such things were small and nowhere near as amazing as an encounter with the beast of Endriago. Yeah, Endriago.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not nearly as amazing for us, the readers, either. Like
yeah, that's so true.
The battles are bigger and crazier with more dangerous enemies than ever before, and it's boring.
Now,
it's pretty boring.
I actually I think they're more boring, but I don't mind them in Space Marine combat. Like thinking it relative to other Space Marine combat, I do think it's sick they get attacked by like a sand monster that spits acid on them. But that's mostly because of the second time Warhammer has made me go, oh no, that's intense and gross.
Yeah.
Where Zahariel. Yeah, with the helmet, where Zahariel rips open Adius's helmet, and Adius's face comes with it because the helmet's been melted by acid and it fused with his face.
Yep.
Oh,
pretty gruesome. Things I do like about this section are, the sci-fi we get here. This Sarosh has a really sci-fi culture where, everybody's always wearing a mask. Everyone has these glowing glow globes that follow them around everywhere they go. The society has this insanely bureaucratic system. Almost
25% of the population is bureaucratic.
Yeah, almost all crimes are punished with extra time spent doing bureaucratic work.
Or obviously the alternative, if it's too serious enough, the chasm they go.
Yes. Sacrifice to our alien overlords.
Unfortunately, there is a chasm of hundreds of millions of dead bodies.
Yeah, literally a chasm with hundreds of millions, tens of millions at least.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The scale of that is crazy.
It's crazy to think about that chasm. I do like that. That's metal as hell.
Yeah, because they say at one point that there are 70 million people missing in the the census data. Yeah, 70 million people missing in the last 10 years. And apparently they're all in one hole.
Just one hole. That's a big hole.
Pretty crazy.
I will say we also get some of the just the worst drive-by fat phobia I've seen in a minute.
Oh, yeah, the fact that the leader of Sarosh is a morbidly obese man where literally everyone else is skinny. He's the only one not wearing a mask.
It's so you can see his sweaty... It's just it's the most cliched and tired thing that wouldn't be as big of a deal if it literally didn't go on for pages. Well,
it's kind of silly how long everyone just lets him rant and ramble, too, once he reveals that man, we've been lying to you this whole time. We're not compliant at all. Fuck you.
We actually have a secret religion.
Yeah, and tells them all the details about it.
But it is also very funny. It's like, hey, you know how you guys loudly proclaim as soon as you landed all knowledge to the rational truth and no religion here, people. We are not religious at all. Hey, maybe don't do that for people like us because we instantly knew not to tell you fuckers anything.
Yeah, I that is a great moment. He's like, you fucking idiots, you fucking dummies. You told us that you don't tolerate religion. What do you think we were gonna do?
Like right away, too. No preamble.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the first people you sent to us said, oh, yeah, by the way, gods, we'll kill you.
So of course
if you
we're gonna
believe
hide
in
it.
those. Yeah. He's like, honestly, he's like, we were helped by the fact that religion's a private affair on our planet anyway. People don't really talk about it that much, but then you made it clear we couldn't, so why would we? Fuck you. And by the way, gods are real. We know for a fact we have evidence. And they do. They do have, essentially evidence that a different dimension of otherworldly beings can be summoned into existence through ritual and have a real material impact on the world. Like that's
we can
evidence.
summon a
Gods
tentacle
are
room
real.
so quick, bro. You don't even know.
Yeah. We've got these, like, it's hard to tell if they're aliens or if they're just warp demons. But these multi-jointed, semi-transparent, scaly beings that spit acid and have, like, these
Ghost knives? Ghost knife claws?
Ghost knife claws. They're super thin and they're
they like attack your soul?
gangly.
Question mark?
Yeah. It cuts right through armor like butter. Even adamantium Astartes armor.
Well, it doesn't cut. It just goes through them, right? It doesn't even cut through. It just goes through?
I'd have to read it again to say for sure. One of those two things. It's phasing through them or it's just cutting through them.
Because I thought it was supposed to mirror how Zahariel, like, went through the lion.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Especially since they're all transparent and shit.
Yeah.
And he sees everything as transparent when he's in terror sight mode.
When he's in which time?
Yeah. When he's activated bullet time, basically.
Rihanna's here?
Yes, the one woman of this story, who is, she's an iterator or a remembrancer.
Yep.
Who's been sent to the planet.
She's going to make some music.
She's gonna make some music. Yeah,
but
she's gonna
also
record
take
some
some
music,
pictures.
Gonna take some pictures. She's got an escort. Escort's very polite, and then drugs her, paralyzes her, takes her to these gangly creatures that she can tell aren't human. When one of their masks slips and all their extra joints besides.
She does the sexploitation horror scream.
Yeah, the horrible blood-curdling scream.
And passes out.
He passes out, gets dragged in a cart through the desert to a mining facility that's actually this sacrifice pit.
Summoning circle?
A demon gets poured into her. A horrible, multi-eyed, many-tentacled monster thing. She's being possessed by. She's doomed to be the host for this demon, which the Imperium apparently knows about because the librarians are like, yeah, this is it's just.
I'm so done with being like, I have questions about what the Imperium thinks is magic and what isn't magic and what is religion and what isn't religion, that I just think it's just poorly thought out. I have just come to this conclusion that it's poorly thought out. Nobody had any idea what they were trying to say with this. They still wanted to keep the aesthetics of Warhammer without having to think of something new.
There is before these books were written, there is a canonical event that happens right before the Horus Heresy. That the Imperium did allow psychics, and they had a line for all this stuff, which is what we hear here in this Great Crusade scene, where it's like, oh yeah, it's just they're Xenos from the warp. They're just aliens from the warp. That was the line for the Imperium, to explain away demons. But Psychers are okay for a long time, and then this event happens, and then Psychers are not okay anymore. By the time of the Horus Heresy, no Legion has Psychers anymore.
Okay, so this Psyker Space Marine thing is weird.
So some technical difficulties here, but I think we've got it figured out now. I was ranting and rambling about how Space Marines have librarians at this point in the timeline because a certain event that's coming down the line in the Horus Heresy novels has not happened yet in the Great Crusade portion of the timeline we've seen. And
yeah,
so we
the
still
Council
have
of Trent
librarians.
hasn't happened yet.
We still have Council of Nicaea.
No, I'm pretty sure it's the Council of Trent. I'm pretty sure this is where they figure out the Bible.
No, that's the Council of Nicaea, right? But anyway, yeah. So blah blah blah. Space Marine bomb. It's a cyclonic torpedo that they can use psychic powers and extra tech bits to somehow channel this psychic EMP at the tentacle beast clinging to the ceiling, trying to descend into and possess the body of poor Rihanna.
So something that was I just really like I have to make my peace of. I have to just deal with the fact that the Imperium's rules on Psychers is unhinged and doesn't make sense. I just have to be fine with that.
For now, yeah. They are unhinged. It doesn't make sense. Even when you get more details and background, it still doesn't really
what's
make
magic,
that much sense.
what's not magic, what's a god, what's not a god. I just think...
And how can a faction like this find these the warp entities here are not causing any kind of earth-shattering, mind-altering, paradigm-shifting event for the Dark Angels. They're just like, oh yeah, they're aliens from the warp. Okay, sure, fine. They're Xenos. And when Horus finds out about this, it's the end of the goddamn world. What? Okay.
It feels so inconsistent in this era.
Yeah, inconsistent, and would
and not
this
in an
not
interesting
have
way.
to be with all the Psychers that are in existence in the Imperium at this point in the Great Crusade? How is this not a thing they all know about? We see all these scenes where other cultures and other alien races are aghast and horrified to find out that we don't know about chaos. And
the thing is, nothing. So this is kind of my crux with the issue. We don't get any of the Emperor's perspective at all in this. And it's not done in a way I find interesting. I feel like it's done in a way to obfuscate information.
Yeah.
And I wish it was played with more, especially I wish in the relation of you brought up early in this podcast history is you think this is an issue of pedagogy of a teacher not teaching properly. Yeah. And
if the Emperor is this all-knowing, super intelligent mega being, then he should be able to educate. Absolutely. And if he could do it effectively and systemically, with good, wholesome, natural, tried and tested practices about building each other up and not investing in the banking system of education, but instead thinking of a pedagogy of liberation. If all of that was the goal and everything was completely different, then this would be a much better universe. If he was a better teacher, pretty much every problem would be solved. But what do you have to say about that?
I think it's an interesting read that I wish was kind of actually in this more. That really, because we get nothing on the Emperor, and we get nothing in a way that doesn't feel interesting to me, or really works with the themes or the stuff going on in the story.
Yeah,
it just feels, especially in this book where we don't see the Emperor by convenience of Zahariel gets choked out by a Space Marine. That's the only reason he doesn't show up. And that just feels it feels so arbitrary in a way that I think by them doing this, they're more shooting themselves on the foot instead of establishing something. And maybe the payoff will blow my mind and I will be like, wow, I'm glad actually he was kept in secret. I'm more than open to being changed. but I'm not being sold that him being put on the bench has been useful for the narrative, especially if it's a narrative about how all these sons are kind of dealing with their father being so absent. And like, there's some aspects of the absentee, distant father who is revered by the community. There's something in there that is interesting, but it just isn't enough. I want them to focus. Like, this is the book where the melodrama is the main focus of the story, I would say, which is, I think, the reason why I like this one the most.
Sure. Yeah,
but,
I think it leans into the interesting things more than the other books have, for sure.
But they, like, take that to the stars, man. Let it be the main thrust of Warhammer. I think that's the most. I think when Warhammer is the most melodramatic, it's at its most interesting.
Yeah, it's certainly its most itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it just plays so well into like space opera.
Yeah, and I think that's
it's
what
the thing I love about Star
Warhammer.
Wars. That's when Star Wars is the best. Is when it's the most melodramatic.
And like, you ask a Warhammer fan what they like about Warhammer, they'll probably give you some really specific thing about their specific faction that they really specifically like. But the real thing is it's the melodrama. I think that's what we're all here for. Is it's a big, bombastic, unbelievable, extremely exaggerated in every way universe that includes basically everyking.
And you can tell big stories about it, about like themes on like galactic level.
Yeah. You can. The scope is pretty expansive, to be sure, and they really don't use it well enough.
Yeah, and that, and like, not seeing the Emperor is kind of like, I wish it bothered me in a different way, and then instead of the way where it just feels mildly annoying. We're like, this just feels the most egregious it has been. Of we can't show you the Emperor.
It really.
I don't know why you can't show him
like,
for a paragraph.
If you're not going to show him, why not build anticipation of showing him? Like, why not give us like little tantalizing bits that make us want to meet him more, frankly? Because like I don't know, like, we don't really have anything interesting about him other than that he's the guy behind all this stuff, which is very, very interesting.
I'm starting a new list. I'm starting a list. Emperor facts that I know.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm excited. What do you know? Tell us so far.
Okay.
What do you know about the Emperor?
Big. He's a big guy.
Probably.
He sits on a golden throne.
No.
At some point.
Eventually, yeah. Eventually he will. This one, he's not there yet, but he will.
Parentheses in 40K.
Yeah.
I'm going to share all my Emperor facts that I know.
Yeah.
Maybe was Jesus Christ.
Maybe.
Unified Earth.
Yep. There you go. Yep.
I do know that.
Yes.
Is a psyker.
Yes.
Is the most powerful psyker.
Almost certainly.
Because the second most powerful is the region of Terra, as established in
False Gods?
Flight of the Eisenstein.
Flight of the Eisenstein? Yeah, you're right. It is Flight of the Eisenstein.
Because that's where he shows up. The Malika whatever.
Malkador.
Malkador. Okay. Big, sits on a golden throne in 40K. Maybe it was Jesus Christ. Unified Earth, is the most powerful. Oh, made 20 sons.
Yep, he sure did.
In tubes.
So he's a scientist. He's a scientist.
Yeah, scientist.
And
hates religion.
Yes. That's the other.
New wave
hates
atheist.
Religion. He is a new wave atheist to his core. So maybe he was Jesus and Dawkins,
Fuck me. The most dangerous combo.
Yeah. Yes.
Writes a big piece of paper that says rogue traders can do their rogue trading.
He's done that at least a few times. Yes, he's
yeah,
signed.
I know. That's an Emperor fact.
Yep. That might be it. He has
represented by a skull in 40K.
I think you could probably fairly understand that he has
because he's the undying emperor.
like the degree of his psychic ability is somewhat prognostic. If that's a word.
This is a fact I
like
keep
he
remembering and then forgetting. You have to sacrifice 10,000 boys, not boys, but psychers to him every day so he can do his thing or whatever.
At least 1,000, I think. I don't know.
Oh,
What the exact
1,000.
number
Okay,
is. I don't remember.
some
I think it's
stupid
1,000.
number.
Yeah, some stupid number psychics. Yeah, to keep him well fed and alive, maybe. Although there are questions about what exactly the Golden Throne is doing. We used to think we knew what it did, and now the current lore is, but do you really know what it's doing? Do you?
So now
really
I know the Golden Throne is doing something itself.
Maybe. Is it?
Maybe.
No, it is. It's definitely doing a thing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and actually,
what's
you should know.
has
from
a
Rogue
tarot
Trader
card
what the throne
deck.
is doing, though. But that's okay.
well,
Yeah, tarot's
maybe
important
I
to him.
tarot cards, so we know he's a gamer.
Yeah. Sure.
We know he's a he/him.
Yes, he's a boy.
He's a boy, like all my boys.
Like all his boys. Yeah, I think that's probably it. Should we talk about how
Rihanna
this,
being
like,
sacrificed and
the
then
very
shot in the
last-
most gruesome way possible in all of these books, and it's terrible because she only exists to be in distress and then brutally murdered in a very
she's drugged,
dramatic way.
paralyzed, tortured, and tormented, and then
Cries blood.
She cries blood, and then her moment of mercy that she receives from Zahariel is him absolutely pulping her body in explicit gory detail with a 3-round burst of bolts shells.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks not in a good way. This sucks. It just is miserable. I like the tentacles. I like that they get in a tentacle battle.
It's okay. They're kind of
goofy.
like warp phasing tentacles that come in and out of nowhere. It's a pitched battle.
They're ghost tentacles?
Kind of. They're yeah. What exactly they're even? I don't really know what this thing is.
This actually might be the
soul
soul-eating thing that I got confused with.
The what?
The soul-eating thing. I thought maybe the claws were soul eaters too, phasers too, of the Xenos aliens.
Oh, I don't know.
Or maybe they both are.
And
Maybe this faction gets specifically phasing phasing weapons.
I mean, we're. I'll tell you, we'll never see these guys again. So maybe this is just a whole one-off thing.
I really wish we did get a bit more one-offs. I don't mind this. This is the thing. I actually don't mind this little fight. I like their fight against these things. I was scared when you're saying there was a final battle that we're going to get a focus on a war. And honestly, them doing a Starship Troopers where they have to go in and kind of like get them, like, go underground to get the bugs, essentially. Pretty good.
Yeah.
With their little psychic bomb. God, I never thought about this. Is the Horus Heresy really Starship Trooper coded?
Yes, absolutely. It really, really is, especially 40K stuff. But absolutely, it's fuck all the aliens, right? And it's completely fascist and militaristic in almost every way.
And people missing the point.
Sure, yeah. Something we completely skipped over really is the Luther's scene with the bomb.
Oh yeah.
So like the most essential plot point really for this whole book, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
Luther. So yeah, while the Lion is having his fight with the big fat man, I
think I got distracted by that. I was like, oh,
the leader of Sarosh. Luther is. And Zahariel have a weird feeling about. Well, Luther had a weird feeling about the ship, that they came in on because
they basically flew in on a jet plane.
Yeah, they did. They into orbit on a jet plane that was not heat shielded. It wasn't rated for re-entry, and he realizes that. And as he realizes this, he decides not to tell anybody because that reveal. If they've done this, if they've come here on a one-way trip, it pretty much guarantees that they're here to kill everybody, or at least the lion. And he decides not to tell Zahariel, who's there because he's a good boy who's early for his deployment, basically. Or something. I don't remember exactly.
Well, yeah, he's getting ready for the deployment, and then Luther's like, go hang out with the boys. You'll remember the times you hung out with the boys.
Yeah.
Then Zahariel just has a big mind sense, no wait, my Zahariel senses are tingling. There was danger in that shuttle, and they find that nuclear warhead in the nose of the plane.
Yes, there was a bomb here, and beyond that, there's also a homing device, I guess, attached to the leader who's talking to the lion because he activates this device once he reveals that, hey, we're betraying you, fuck you, Imperium. When he does that, the ship turns on and starts aiming itself towards where the lion is having this meeting on their ship, and
radiating heat and nuclear energy.
Yeah, preparing to blast off inside the hangar and blow up the Invincible Reason, their flagship.
That's a good ship name.
It is a good ship name.
Shout out to the Invincible Reason.
Luther, I don't really know what he tries to do about it.
Well, Luther comes back and they try to pull off the thing and get it out, and then it starts moving.
He sends off a ship-wide warning. And then Zahariel depressurizes the hangar temporarily.
Yeah, shuts down the integrity field.
So that it gets sucked out, which is not physics. That's not how physics works. The air would blast it out. It doesn't get sucked out. Vacuum doesn't suck.
It does say explosive decompression, but
it says explodes out, but it continues to say sucked out.
It's very funny. Because it's movies. It's movies.
And it's a slow, gradual thing. Yeah, so it's more of a sucking. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
I'm always saying that. It's more of a sucking.
Zahariel saves the day after getting melted and burned.
Yeah, he's coming
but
in
not
with
so
scars.
But not so badly that he can't partake in the final battle. Leading up to
it was also we need more psychers. Sorry, you gotta come.
Right. He's an Astartes, so we can always make an excuse. He's good enough to go.
Good enough to go. Slap a Band-Aid on that beautiful burnt face.
And that's pretty much everything except for Luther going to talk to the lion looking pissed, and us left to assume that he told him, hey, oops, I didn't tell anybody at first, and maybe was going to let you die. We don't know how much he told the lion, but I think we can assume that he told him. I thought it was
implied he barely told the lion anything, but the lion just knew.
I mean, maybe
because
that is what happened.
He also just glared at Zahariel too the entire time.
Yeah, maybe that is what happened. I guess I think because Luther looks so guilty, obviously guilty.
I just imagine he looks like a sad dog for the rest of the book. He's just constantly looking down on the ground.
I mean, that's how he's described, basically.
Yeah, he's so sad. Luther unlocked. I purchased a sad Luther skin. He's constantly crying.
I think that's just why. It's because he's outwardly, obviously sad. He's not hiding that. I assume he told the lion at least something,
Yeah.
And we do have that moment where he whispers something to the lion after this whole event took place. So, or had a private conversation. I can't remember exactly. But
yeah, I could be misremembering too, because you know what? It really ultimately it would be fun to have their conversation. That's the thing I think is so sad, because now we're in Astartes mode, so we got to go more combat. Which is such a bummer. It's such a bummer. I want these conversations with Luther and the Lion.
I do too. And I honestly, I can barely remember the next book, so I don't even know if we get them in the next one. But
I don't.
We'll
know.
get some.
We'll
get some, but and the next Angels book, I mean, not the next Horus Heresy book. Sorry, not the next Horus Heresy book. I meant the sequel to this book.
Yep. Which that's in 3 months' time, something like that.
Yes, I think that's book 11, 10 or 11. Yep. But then, so they go to Soros, they kill the demon, they save the day, hooray! But
they conquer Soros with hellfire.
Yes. But the Lion is fucking pissed at Luther, and his excuse to send him away is, we're not getting enough recruits from Caliban, so you need to go back.
It's not that they're not getting enough recruits; their training isn't being completed. They're failing.
Is that what it said? That is not my memory of the ending of this book.
Oh, I thought it was like they were failing to like finish the like training, and so they needed people to actually be there and make sure they're trained properly.
I read it as they're not getting enough recruits. The Lion is disappointed with the pace of recruitment or something like that. Hang on. Let me see.
Yeah, a declaration from the Lion announced that the flow of new recruits from Caliban was not proceeding as swiftly as he hoped. I just read that as like there were
the training process isn't going well.
Yeah, the training process is like slow.
I can tell you with certainty that's not the problem. It's they're not getting enough recruits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was just me reading it wrong. Okay. Yeah. Oh, all right. Man, now I hope the next book is like fucking Zahariel going on horseback and fucking town to town, putting on a little like soldier show to like recruit people. I know that's not it, but I would love that.
It is definitely not. Yeah. We will get there.
Yeah. So Zahariel and Luther get sent back home,
but not Nemiel. Nemiel gets to stay with the Lion.
Yeah, I don't know why Nemiel gets to stay with the Lion.
Because I don't know. Because Adius and Elias have to go back too.
Yeah.
For some reason.
The nerd squad.
We'll learn later that the Lion sends almost a third of his guys back home. Like a huge
it sounds
number
like
of
a
guys.
decent amount of people.
Yeah. He sends a lot of his legion back to their home planet. Where he's pretty much just going to keep them, which is crazy. But it's because he doesn't trust them. And the Lion has trust issues, and he's going to continue to have trust issues.
That's for another time.
That is for another time. That's basically it. That's Descent of Angels. The most fun read yet, I think.
Yeah, I remember you saying, you really didn't like this book when you first read it.
I don't know if that's true anymore because I think I might have been misremembering this book or conflating it with the sequel to this book, which I also barely remember, frankly. Having read it to completion now, I don't know that I ever finished this book before, first of all. Not that the ending is something I like that much, but
yeah.
I honestly, I don't know. I know that I didn't read this with my eyes the first time I read it. It was another audiobook I listened to, and I remember not liking the voices of young Zahariel and young Nemiel. And
that's a lot of the book.
Yeah, I don't know how much that colored my experience of the book itself. I remember I always liked book one. I always liked book one. But I did not have a very positive opinion of this before. Now that I've read it, I like it at least better than the first 5 books. I don't know. Fulgrim's got its own special wackiness to it that I enjoy here and there. But this was as a book as a whole, I think this is my favorite yet.
Yeah, I think this is the best book we've read.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of easily in a way, right?
Yeah, I mean it goes down smoothest, that's for sure.
Well, and it's fun to see the transition from pre-Imperium to post-Imperium. Even though we can maybe have had a better view of post-Imperium on the planet itself, that maybe would have been more interesting. But we got the vibes of what it's going to become, which I thought was great. Staying on one planet for most of a book instead of being planet hoppy and like plot hoppy is so much better. And this book really is about Zahariel. Like at the start of this conversation, you did mention you saw it as a book about like two boys, and I just don't. I feel like Nemiel's so inconsequential to most of the plot, and this really is about Zahariel.
I wouldn't say he's inconsequential. I think the tension between them is some of the most important conflict we see in this text, especially early on. Their rivalry is what drives everything. Like
that's true.
It's their
inconsequence is the wrong word, but I don't see it like. I see it in relation to Zahariel. I don't feel like Nemiel is a character I like consider in the same way I consider Zahariel as like what the book is trying to tell as a story.
Zahariel is definitely the front and center character. Yes, he's the protagonist. If we had to pick one,
yeah, just easily to me. Like I feel like this is a book about Zahariel.
Yeah.
Which, it's kind of nice to be in a book that's about one character for the most part.
Yeah,
as opposed to having such split perspectives.
I think Flight of the Eisenstein did it pretty well.
Yep, that was a good plus on Garin.
We did have cutaways to Remembrancers, which we have tiny amounts of in book 4 exclusively in this book. But yeah,
it is wild when it happens in this book. It is so out of left field.
Yeah, absolutely out of nowhere. We are in a completely different perspective that Zahariel. Well, I mean, okay, so it still kind of makes sense because we know Zahariel goes on to have this incredible psychic connection with her right before she dies. So he would have access to these memories, I guess, her memories.
Oh,
but
that's so interesting. I didn't think about that.
Because you're right. I think this is framed as being told by Zahariel or remembered by Zahariel.
Yeah.
So it does still fit that her perspective is a part of this. But
it's just
narrative.
Kind of written badly.
That's a narrative explanation. Yeah. It's structurally to the text. It's
still just kind of bad. It's still
kind of shoehorned. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, being the only woman in the entire story. And then just existing to be tortured and then brutally murdered is... It
should have been one of the other Space Marines. They should have stole like Elia or whatever, the big boy.
Well, that's the thing though. We can't have a Space Marine be corrupted because we know that Jubal or whatever his name is, the guy the son of Horus who gets possessed. That's like a big fucking deal that that happens to an Astartes. So
okay, and
this is all before that. Everything that happens in this book happens before everything that happens in the other books.
Okay.
So anyway, whatever.
Wouldn't it have been sick if they kept it quiet though?
Yeah.
One thing I do want to talk about before we end.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't talked about the cover yet.
Oh yeah. Not quite as bad, I would say.
Not quite as bad. A bit more interesting things going on in this cover.
Yeah.
I'm trying to... Is this the castle?
I think this is them in front of the rock. If you look up Descent of Angels in Google Images, you'll see the cover. I think... No, they're in combat, so who fucking knows? Because you see Astartes, it looks like shooting at each other. So literally, if that's the case, it could not be a scene from this book. What the absolute fuck? Yeah, if you look at the... Actually, no, yeah, it does. It presents... It looks like, if you look at front and back together, it looks like... Dark Angels fighting each other, which literally does not happen in this book.
Wait, what?
What the fuck? It could just be that they have one model for some reason shooting backwards when he shouldn't be. but that doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, or this is the Knights.
These are not the Knight. This is Space Marine armor. These are Space Marine bolters because the Knight guns had rotary barrels, and the weapons on this cover are traditional bolters. And
but do you
there's a power
think
sword.
maybe this is supposed to be though the Knights?
No, it's not. Because they have wings on the shoulder emblem. That's a Dark Angels thing. That's the order is just their symbol is just the descending sword, and we see on this man's pauldron a descending sword with wings attached to it.
Yeah, but here's my argument. Maybe they just drew those anyways because they knew you had to get the Dark Angels, and they just had that. And this is supposed to be depicting their siege on the Knights.
No, we are look at the scene. Like there is electrical light in here, I think.
Oh, there's electrical light. You're right.
There is at least one electrical wire. There's an explosion in the background too. So I really, and again, the one guy with a sword has a power sword, not a chain sword.
Yeah, you're right.
So
that's a big.
And the arrow on his pauldron, again, that's an Astartes symbol. The power packs on their backs are not necessarily described in the descriptions of the knightly power armor.
No, they're not.
So this is overwhelmingly, definitely, again, and the bolters are not rotary barreled. These are full-size bolters.
This is them doing their Civil War.
These are Space Marines in the middle of a civil war, and that does not happen in this book.
I mean, I guess it's hinted at, though.
Yeah, but this scene depicted on the cover of the book does not take place in the book. Yet
what
again,
if it is? This is Hariel's telling his story as he's dying.
Yeah, whatever.
In the battlefield.
Sure, maybe.
This is what we're gonna find out in the last book.
Yeah. So you know what? Although I think it's more interesting to look at. Perhaps,
it is because you can tell like the candles. There's like candelabras on the wall.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
It's there's a guy with a helmet on, and then there's a guy wearing a robed hood with his power armor, which is that is the Dark Angel aesthetic, is the what's it called, the fucking robes they wear over their armor.
I can't believe Dark Angels might be the faction I choose if I choose a fucking Legion.
Yeah, honestly, I could see that. I don't know how much you're going to like any of the other legions, so yeah.
I'm holding out hope for the Thousand Sons.
Yeah, you know what? I think you might love them, but
to be fair, yeah. Actually, it could also just still be Emperor's Children, though. Let's be fair. I do love the Emperor's Children.
We're going to meet all kinds of new factions. I mean, technically, we've only really spent time with Luna Wolves, Emperor's Children, Death Guard,
Death Watch,
and
or Death Guard, not Death Watch.
Death Guard and Dark Angel. We've only really firsthand had accounts of 4 legions, and we've seen White Scars, we've seen World Eaters, and we've
Word Bearers.
We've seen Word Bearers. We've seen all the factions at Istvan 5, but
Salamanders.
We've only spent time with 4 of 18 legions so far. So yeah. Cool. We'll meet many more.
All right. Ready to talk about next month's book?
Legion by Dan Abnett. Book number 1's author returns to us for book number 7, the book about the Alpha Legion.
Yeah, Legion Secrets and Lies. Should I read the back of the cover?
Do it.
A great war is coming, and it will engulf the Imperium of man. The Space Marines of the Alpha Legion, the last and most secretive of all the Astartes brotherhoods, arrive on a heathen world to support the Imperial army in a pacification campaign against strange and uncanny forces. But what drives the Alpha Legion? Can they be trusted? And what side will they choose when the Great War begins? Loyalties are put to the test, and the cunning schemes of an alien intelligence revealed in this latest installment of the groundbreaking sci-fi series as the fate of mankind hangs in the balance.
I am Alfarius. You'll get
What?
it later.
Okay.
Yeah. I am Alfarius. That is, if there's any tagline for that faction, it's that line. I am Alfarius.
I don't know. I'm interested in this. I won't lie. I like the idea of them having to wrestle what side to choose. I hope that's the focus of the book. But I read the back of the book for Fulgrim, and I thought the drop site massacre was going to be something that was actually led up to instead of just kind of slotted in at the end.
I'll tell you, it's been like at least 10 years since I've read this book, but my memory is that is an accurate plot synopsis.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Honestly, I know the first time I read Legion, it was among my favorites. So I don't know how many Horus Heresy books I had read at that point, but because I wasn't necessarily reading them in order. But I did. Last time I read it, my memory is I really liked it. So we'll see.
How do you feel being about 10% done with the podcast? Well, at least with this part of the podcast.
I mean, this is the half a year mark for us. Yeah, we've been doing this for half a year.
Yeah,
it's wild. I'm impressed with us. I knew we were gonna stick to it. I felt it in my bones. I never doubted we would continue with this every month.
but hey, we're still doing it though.
It is kind of weird to think about. These are big. We've done a lot of reading, on top of all the other reading we both do. So, yeah, impressive.
Yeah.
Good job, us.
And I got the Dark Coil Ascension on my shelf too. So I'm gonna have to squeeze in 2 Warhammer books at some point.
The Dark Coil Ascension.
Should I read the back of that cover?
I don't even recognize the name of that book. I don't know that I've ever heard the name of that book. What?
All right.
Yeah.
All right. This is for Warhammer 40K, The Dark Coil Ascension by Peter Favarari.
I don't even know that. I don't know that author. This is
On the
interesting.
surface, the galaxy's finest warriors ward against the dark forces that plague humanity, but emerging cracks are everywhere. Chaos festers within the sprawling web of the dark coil, and Xenos threats grow ever stronger. In the reverie, the angels resplendent reckon with an ancient sin that poisons their chapter, and their story unfolds in crisis and conspiracy. When Astra Militarum survivors reach a sanctuary world in Requiem Infernal, the Adeptus Sororitas must fight maligned forces which stir in their wake. Delve into the darkness within Favari's short stories, where the Night Lords enact a bloody ritual. A hive world is beset with mysterious peril, and as Salamander's fire drake burns with the righteous furies as part of a Death Watch kill team. A master of the horror at the heart of Warhammer 40K, Peter Favari explores the deepest recesses of both the mind and the stars in this Dark Coil collection.
Maybe you'll have to record a Too Many Books bonus episode where you go into
The Dark Coil?
I've never heard of this. I see this. It was recently published.
Yep.
A couple months ago.
One of my partners
so,
got me this for Christmas.
Yeah, I've never heard of this. Never heard of this author. A collection of short stories might be good.
Might be good. Also, we're coming up, in a couple of months, we're going to be reading a short story compilation.
That's right. Tales of Heresy, right.
Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be shorter, but of course it's 412 pages.
Yeah, it's a lot of stories. That's another one, yet another one I've only listened to. I remember the voice work being really good for it. That's all I remember.
I'm so glad the fucking Wikipedia has the length of the pages.
Yeah, you'll rarely find a more thorough and complete set of wiki pages than Warhammer wiki pages.
Oh, this is just the base Wikipedia.
Oh, just from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Damn.
They know that even people who casually are looking at Warhammer need to know this shit. 1,000 Suns is 558 pages. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Graham. It's another Graham McNeil. Graham.
Yeah, he's long-winded for sure. That's a big one. It's a beefy book. That's one of my favorites though. Okay.
That is the most we'll have to read though.
Yeah.
Oh, nope. Sorry. There's a 672 pager one. Never mind.
Jesus Christ, which one is that?
The End and the Death,
Oh,
Volume
The End
2.
and the Death. Yeah, that's one of the very, very, very last ones.
Yeah, we're talking about 63. We're talking about in 5 years.
Yeah.
We're talking about 5 years.
Well, let's get some sleep so we're ready for 5 years from now.
Okay. Goodbye,
Jeez
everybody.
Louise. Bye, everybody. Love you. Goodbye.